Okay, I think I'm getting used to OBS still. Beckett gave me some advice on how to use it, I think. I'm pretty certain we talked about it. And then another friend of mine was explaining OBS to me and showing me some stuff. So I think I'm getting the hang of it. We're gonna find out. Cad and Way with the 5. Yeah, Cad and Way, that name is really familiar. Hold on. Is that the person? Before I go saying anything, I'm gonna go make sure that's the person that I think that that is. One second. Hello, chat. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi. Gilded Pooh. Your waifu is a whore. Void Slayer. Girly. Hi. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hello. It's been a bit. It's been a bit. He's finally learning. Okay. Hallelujah. Uh, yeah, I'm not good with it. I was actually initially going to use StreamYard, but then someone, I think, is on my Twitter, was like, "Are you finally learning how to use OBS?" Um, yeah, so someone said, "Have you gotten better with OBS?" And I was gonna use StreamYard to spite them. But then I was like, "Fuck it, you know what? I should just use OBS and just like learn how to fucking use it instead of just avoiding using it." It has been a bit, yeah. After the Maxim and whatnot, and a little bit of uploading. I was just sort of letting you guys, do whatever you want with it, and watching as things unfolded. And then Lio did the did a video with Nezzy, his call with Nezzy, and then I watched Beckett react to that, and I popped on for that because that was great. And then Thuman released the interview with Nezzy and Doodles, and that was great. I think I stopped working on it for a little bit. But I have on Filmora in the editing process, me cover like I was gonna cover the um, the call with Thuman, Doodles, and Nezzy, and then partially some of what was said in Lio's call with Nezzy, um, just to add to the series. But then I was like, I don't know if I need to do that, so I don't know if I'm gonna continue it. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I missed you guys too, though. It has been a bit. Yeah, I'm getting back into the groove of it. Viewed the Maxim too many times. I hear it every time I close my eyes. No, okay, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm just going to let you know that there are developments for why Thuman is like pushing the video back constantly. Um, that's all I can say. That's all I'm going to say, but I just know that there are developments and they're fucking crazy. The video is going to be amazing. I know it. Like no matter like, what her take is, I think the video is going to be amazing and I think she's putting in a lot of fucking effort. So I'm really looking forward to it. How's your perfect victory? Honestly, so um, I was messaging Lio after he put out the call with Nezzy, and so this sort of like summarizes my stance. Okay, I was messaging Lio, just sharing my thoughts on it all, and there was that part where Nezzy is gonna sound kind of gay, okay? But there's that part where Nezzy was going on about like, oh, I don't want all these people hating me, so forth, yada yada yada. And I was like, and all these people bringing it up, and it's annoying. And I was like, it made me think, back to like when I was 16 and I had to deal with, her flock of retards constantly accusing me of many things that I didn't do. And then what Nezzy told me in 2023, the Senate call, which was, just tell them to fuck off. So that's kind of like my stance when it comes to like, her complaining about what she's dealing with. We'll just tell them to fuck off because it's clearly that easy, right? Obviously, the big difference is she's catching flack for things that she did do, and with me, a lot of it was shit that I didn't even do. Not all of it, okay? Because there was some valid criticisms. If you've seen my coverage of Ponder and Nezzy's two videos, there was some valid points, especially in my timeline. But the rest of it was a lot of bullshit. Okay, Lonza did. Yes, I saw the video on Lyle. I was told of it like immediately by multiple people at the same time. It's a Pumu. Hi, Cash. What's been happening? I don't want people to hate me aged like milk. I don't think. No, I can promise you this now from what I've been told. Okay, from what I've been told. Now I do trust the information. I do. But from what I've been told, and I don't know if I can get into specifics, I don't know if people are cool with me. She has no intentions of addressing it, by the way. No intentions of acknowledging it. She has none. Her plan is to simply private the videos like she has and move on. And I think that's pretty funny. I was so worried you and Kuma were the same person after the Cine stuff. Thank God. I I I really don't know what the confusion is there. Like our names are only similar in that. I I guess we're both kind of edgy, but I don't know why people confuse us that much. Hello, Blake. Portobello Mushroom in chat. Um, Crystal the Hellcat. Oh, I think I've seen you before. And hi, Borg. I never trusted Jar after the whole Sinew situation. I thought it was your alias. Um, okay, interesting. Well, I might react to some stuff. I don't know. I'm still debating on whether I'm going to fully, go continue forth with covering the Nezi, Thuman, and Doodles call. Um, but in regards to Ponder acknowledging, the things that she was wrong about and the hit piece on me, no, she has no plans to. The plan is to simply just private it and move on. Which I think is pretty funny because her whole series and the brand that she built her channel off of was dispelling false narratives and showcasing wrongdoings and contradictions. And yet, when that is turned on her and she is in the position and the qualifications of her own series, then she wants nothing to do with it. Now it's time to walk away. Now it's impeccable timing. What will you do once you finish covering everything that's happened? I have a couple of videos in the works, and I've talked about and teased them on Twitter. Some other deep dives, and so that's sort of the direction I want to go in is like deep diving different things. Actually, in fact, I have a TISM report or a TISM I have a TISM report that's talking about some other niche drama. I don't know if you guys have paid attention or like if some of you may have been here during the Kai stuff back in 2021, or even when I showed some sprites. If you know what Mugen is, I actually have talked about it on this channel before. But I have a second channel that does Mugen related stuff. Mugen's a fighting game, and there's some niche drama there um, that I'm probably going to cover simply because it's just really ridiculous, and it's also gone on for a similar amount of time with the FCK stuff. So I'll probably end up covering that. It does seem really hypocritical of her. Well, Lyo's stance, because this is where me and Lyo have butted heads. But Lyo's stance is that, simply someone changing their mind doesn't equal hypocrisy. And this is where, he and I have argued before in our DMs because, for example, because what we were talking about was the um, the specifics of and the changing up of the standards, like with deleting comments and deleting tweets, and when it's okay to do. And if you guys have seen the hit pieces on me that not Lyle, Ponder and Nezi put together, their whole thing was accusing me of deleting tweets. I didn't even delete the one tweet that I did. Um, you know, I shared a screenshot of it, but we're not going to talk about that. So that was held against me, and then at 3 months after I stopped deleting comments, that was brought up and held over my head, and the people continued to hold it over my head. And I think that's interesting because Ponder has not only resorted to doing that very thing to me and some of you all in chat, or at least some of my own audience members that were pointing it out, but then Nezi ended up doing it, and then Nezi was defending deleting tweets, and then Ponder deleted the tweet. That's why I made the meme. Um, so Lyo's whole thing was, well, they changed their stance on that. These aren't the same people. It's like, yeah, I bet they did change their stance on that. Because when they wanted to do it, when they were put in a position where they wanted to do that thing, suddenly it was okay for them to do. Suddenly they're like, you know what? Now it's okay. Now it's okay to do because I want to do it. Like that does reflect these individuals. It shows that they change their standards based on when they want to do that thing. 2020 AC was too woke. The whole community course correcting in curious ways. It's weird on how Lao is being defended recently. Why is your video deleted? Something to hide, maybe? Yes, I should have. Well, here's the thing, though. I've sent her a friend request on Discord before. She didn't want to accept it. And originally, she was open to doing follow-up calls. She was open to doing follow-up calls after I dropped the videos, at least from what she told me in our call. But then I'm guessing she didn't like um, the things that I pointed out in the video and changed her mind on that. So we'll see. Hello, Kimberly. To be honest, if you mouth off and bark a lot, you should have some bite to back it up, which most of these people you cover just didn't have when looked past the pedestals they put them in. Well, they have a bite or bark or whatever. They have spines, but those spines consist of other people. Like the second they don't have other people backing them, um, it goes away. Perfect example. Case in point is Heaton. Heaton no Ruruni, or however you say it. Perfect example of that. Because when Heaton found out Ponder didn't approve of the way she was going about talking about Chule and finger wagging Chule, about victory lapping and being mean to someone who is unstable. Because I have been keeping and following up with Heaton, and I've been having quite a fun time with that. Then all of a sudden Heaton was changing song and tune for Chule. And then to make matters, worse, um, with when it came to the leaving of the SCC when Heaton left. One of the things that she cited when leaving was that the other people in the SCC weren't willing to go to bat and pick a fight. So, but give me 1 second. Give me a moment. All right, I'm back. I was just getting some tea. I should probably update the tags for the stream. No, I agree with you all. Yeah. Um, Heaton is a chicken. Okay, she's a coward. Eaton was just a small dog. Pretend. My favorite fucking thing when watching Chuli's video, because her video was amazing, phenomenal. I'm hoping my audio is working. Um, it was really good. But my favorite thing was the clip of Heaton going on about taking accountability. You're gonna take it. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Hold on. Chuli, Heaton. Why do all these people run to VTubing? I don't know. Even the audience members that were like ride or die dick riding these people years ago were also running to um, VTubing. Even their audience members that were like for years consistently defending them ran off to that same community. I don't know. It's like a weird place to pick refuge, but whatever. Yeah, Chuli's video is great. Actually, I'm curious. Has Ponder apologized for her behavior towards you, especially in her comments? So when we initially called, she did apologize, and she apologized after the call. And then, I was, taking it into consideration, and initially, I even told Just a Robot this in DMs. I was like, I don't know. I'm really questioning and whatnot whether there was dishonesty at play. And then I rewatched the part one and part two on me together, all on the same day when I was off work. And then shortly after that, I ended up watching the collab that she did with Darkness Stone. And what really made it click that there absolutely was dishonesty involved. Because I was like, you know what? I tried to push aside the things that I could see with the part one and part two, okay? And I was watching the collab with Stone. And it was watching that collab that made me realize, okay, there's no fucking way, there's no dishonesty at play, because the amount of times my words were twisted into the exact opposite thing. Perfect case in point is the collab with Stone, where Ponder tries to. Here's what I said. I'm going to tell you what I said, and then I'm going to tell you how Ponder interpreted it and how she spun it. So I was pointing out that it was odd that Slimmers was willing to tell Madame about her sexual assault, but not her age. clearly referring to the fact and implying that Slummers was wanting to withhold her age from Madame. Ponder interpreted this as me denying the sexual assault occurring, that I was denying that Slummers went through sexual assault, and then finger wagging me on that basis of supposedly doing that, which makes no fucking sense because she literally shows in the video me telling Madame that it did happen, that the case file was real, that Slummers was sexually assaulted. But they just, I guess they didn't recognize that contradiction in the hit piece. So that in and of itself was like, okay, yeah, there's no fucking way there's no dishonesty at play. Hopefully my audio is working. I think it is. OBS says it's working. We're gonna find out if it's working. Hey Max, how you doing? Clef? I'm just trying to keep up with. Let me see if I can find this though. Julie. Is it how he is? I think it's this one, the how Heat in the SEC. Because it really reminded me of like the Light Yagami LARP that I did early on that pissed a lot of these people off. Is it fair to assume Nezzy manipulated Ponder in any way just because she hated you? I don't know. I legitimately don't know. And Ponder is never going to speak about it from what I've gathered, from what I've been told. Her whole plan is to move on, pretend like it didn't happen, or, and just continue on, which is fine. In fact, her doing that has led to more of her audience, many of her audience members, that previously told me themselves in comments and tweets that they were never going to watch my video, and then her refusal to talk about it led them to watching my video. Yes, I've been keeping up with some of the Idubbbz stuff. I haven't seen the debate, but I have seen his little humiliation fetish ritual with his really shitty fucking. I actually left a comment on his content cop. It was horrible. Why why did she private her videos? So from what I've been told, she privated the two videos on me um, because she doesn't want anything to do with them anymore, and she's done with that kind of content. Did you hear about the whole vacay thing? Yeah, sort of. Yeah, yeah. I saw Gilded's YouTube short about it, which is interesting because like 2 months ago, the guy had commented asking me what mic I use. And so I saw this short appear on my recommended page as I opened YouTube from Gilded with the guy's name in it. I was like, ooh, what's this? And I clicked on it, and it's, a recording from Lio's Call Things. So, let me hold on. Let me use the transcripts here. I gotta find this clip. I gotta fucking hear it. You're gonna take this accountability. Which video? Okay, do you guys remember the part that I'm talking about? It was in one of these videos. Is this it? Please be it. Is this it? I think this is it. I'm trying to find which video it was in. Sorry. Oh, did someone donate? Oh, hold on. Did I miss a super chat or something? Hold on. Yes, I did. King Beat. Doodle Tones privated her videos. Thoughts about also how is the diaper episode going about Susie? Um, okay, so thoughts about Doodle's privating videos. I didn't initially believe it. I thought it's got to be an error on YouTube's end. Oh, hi, Seraphy. Seraphy, hi. But I initially didn't believe it. I thought, it was error on YouTube's end. And then, people were like, no, the videos are privated. Yeah, I'm gonna cover some conspiracy truth related topics too. Doodle Tones is one of the is a SCC, totally not ArtCC. Just happens to hang around with a lot of ArtCC people. Definitely not ArtCC, just SCC person who's in the FCK. Will only do apologizes in public, but not in person to the DMs. Um, they also like to construct like apologies and stuff like that, or they'll demand apologies, which I thought was a particular like an odd thing to do. Like I don't know if you guys noticed, but I try to avoid demanding apologies from people because if I have to demand an apology, like they're not sorry, and that's fine. An ex-SEC member who kept quiet about minors, yeah, pretty much. Now, my favorite thing about the Hasan and Idubbbz content cop was that he did a content cop with all the people that are content copable. Out of all the people to pick, he chose to do a collab with all the kind of people he would cover. And then in the video, he was unironically defending what Hasan said about 9/11. Like it wasn't like it is an utter disaster. It was it was leftist infighting, as I put it in my comments and on Twitter, it was leftist infighting wearing the meat suit, okay, the corpse, the dead corpse of Content Cop. It was just writing it was just writing on the name Content Cop. It wasn't an actual Content Cop. Because Ian's not that same guy anymore. A lot of his audience wants to defend him by saying he's mature now. So Ian is more mature now than he was before, but he's fucking sitting there doing Fortnite dances while he's got Hasan of all people. The video was just glazing Hasan. Let's be honest. The video was just a fucking Hasan video because the few parts where Idubbbz actually talks, he's either glazing Hasan or defending something stupid that Hasan did. And one of my favorite things actually is people that used to like Hasan pretending that he was like remotely this big thing or what, like this really smart guy. Like when he was banned for the cracker discourse on Twitch, okay? He tried to he no, he didn't even try. He successfully steamrolled the situation into people thinking he simply said the word cracker and was banned. So the Young Turks were reporting that mind you, that's a full-on news media that was lying, that was either lying or falsely reporting on the situation and never corrected it. He had fucking Mudahar. One of the reasons why I don't really respect Mudahar very much is because that he was sitting on a stream with Mudahar and Nux, trying to pretend as though he simply, just simply said the word cracker and got banned, and yet was also willing to admit that he called someone cracker afterwards. Like, it was such an attempt, and it worked, and people fell for it. I actually have a video about that. If you're curious about what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm gonna plug myself here. I have a video on Hasan and the cracker discourse that happened. Oh, King Beat with another 4.99. Thank you, man. Hey, fun fact: Doodles knew that Nezzy kept quiet about Fegos and was trying to come back, but she didn't see an issue because she wasn't as bad as that. That's completely true. That's completely true as well. I saw that part. Yo, Akumu in chat. Honestly, agree with you. Ian just glazed Hassan. Yeah, with regards to Nezzy, actually, here's the crazy thing, and I was just saying this the other day to Gilded. I was just saying this to Gilded the other day. I find it fucking baffling. Okay, that I get lied about and hit pieces made on me for accusing me of shit that I didn't do, and those people want nothing to do with me, okay? Because I'm mean on Twitter. And yes, Hassan is related to one of the Young Turks, but um, I those people want nothing to do with me. They're any one of them that are involved in the art or SCC community were hounded and are hounded for simply speaking with me, okay? And yet and one of the individuals who essentially created that and promoted that, Nezzy, was willing to reach out to fucking Fegost after what he did. And then here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Cool, perfectly fine to associate with Fegost, but I'm fucking horrible. I'm like literally, actually, at one point she referred to me in the DMs with Lio as he who shall not be named. Okay, so that in and of itself is fucking baffling to me. But here's the thing that really got me. Nezzy told me, and you guys can go, you can fact check me on this. I have the call unedited uploaded, and you probably saw it in the Maxim. Nezzy said to me, well, "Why were you trying to reach out to me when you knew I actively didn't want to talk with you? Remember in the 2023 Senate call?" And yet, Nezzy advised Feghost to reach out to the individuals he had affected, knowing that they actively did not want to speak or know of or hear from Feghost. Phantom Jaiku, also Akumu, I followed your advice, and in 2 weeks, I lost 2 weeks. What advice? Please be more specific. You may not know this about Munohar's allegedly distantly related to one of the assholes that did 9/11. What? Doodles did apologize to Chuli about it. Well, kudos to Doodles. Kudos to Doodles. Yeah, one of Hassan's one of his uncle is the co-founder of the Young Turks. Sink, I think, is his name. Sink Uger, yeah. So Phagos has achieved Voldemort status. No, 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 no. From what I know, Nezzy didn't refer to Phagos as he who shall not be named. Nezzy was referring to me. Nezzy said Ren and he who shall not be named. Then there's Ren and he who shall not be named. But one second. Okay, let me catch up with chat. Did you catch the latest Mama Max video? I I was able to hop into endless stream about it, and then Gilded told me I think a little bit about it. So I haven't actually seen it myself. We need more Voldemort Akumu. Yeah. Some of my favorite art, and I love all the fan art. I'm working on a of a short little video to go over like all the fan art I've gotten to give the people that have made me fan art, like Seraphy and Coffee and Fluffy Buns and all you guys that have done fan art for me. I'm working on a video for you guys. And some of my favorite art, I love all of it, but some of my favorite is the Voldemort ones. Um, or the Lich ones that Coffee did. In general, Coffee's made a lot of stuff, a fan art of me, and it's great. But I really love the Voldemort and Lich ones. Those are really cool. Hi, Adam. ACC really created their own worst enemy. Do you really think you would have ever gone down this investigative route if it wasn't for how horrible they treated you? No. Like, objectively speaking, no. In fact, it was what resulted in this with the snowball, everything that's happened, was specifically two things. The first thing was the Nezzy and Ponder collab, okay? Because that's what led Fuchsia to talking about me. And then Fuchsia talking about me is what led me to join Fuchsia's Discord server and seeing Fuchsia describe and enlist all the people that were in the FCK server. All right. So that's how I found out about the FCK. And then the second thing that really started this was I told them in 2021 and 2022. I've got tweets to Ephraim and various other people. I've said it in streams and videos and comments all the way back then that if they didn't, that they could do two things. They could either stop talking about what went down in 2019 and 2020 if they're not going to be honest about it, or they could be honest about it and not keep doing their attempt to rewrite history every time my name was mentioned throughout those years, even in 2024, they kept giving their narrative retelling of everything that happened in 2019 and 2020. Every fucking time. Every time my name has been brought up, these people have taken it as an opportunity to peddle their false history. So I said, look, if you can do one of two things. You can either stop bringing it up, or you can be honest about it and transparent and whatnot. And if you're not going to be, and you're going to keep bringing it up, I'm going to do this retrospective series, and I'm going to clear the air. And I'm preparing something really special for the FCK. And they kept saying I was bluffing. I told them in comments in 2020, I mentioned it in 2020. They kept telling me I was bluffing and that I was making empty threats and so forth. I used to be SCC, but I left in 2018. In 2016, I questioned Doodletone's diaper fetish, and he evaded the question. Yeah, a lot of people actually questioned it and brought it up. In fact, one of the individuals, one of my favorites, was Automagic Critic. He's seethed about me numerous times as well. Like I've barely spoken about the guy, and he's like seethed. He's been bitching a couple months back. He was bitching about me on his community tab post, but he was one of the early people that pointed out the doodles fetish and role plays, and yet he now currently likes to peddle the same lie that they do, that it was just a hobby. That it's not doodles fetish. We have no proof for that. We have no proof that Doodles gets off to it. It's just sexual degenerate roleplay. It totally wasn't a fetish. Literally, events like the Toby drama, the Akumu two-parter wouldn't happen if the Madame drama didn't happen. They gather autists and bully the odd one out. Anyways, gotta head out. All right, see you, Zaj. They literally made their their worst enemies. No, that's the thing too. They've taken L's back to back to back because the shit with me ended up catching up with them, and the shit that they did to Chuli ended up catching up with them. And that's why the SEC, if you noticed, they're no longer doing their little Twitter threads. They're no longer running their fucking mouths out in public anymore. They're keeping it reserved for their private spaces, their little hug boxes. They used to constantly dogpile and do these Twitter threads, these callouts. But now they don't do that anymore because all that's done is just end up with them getting fucking mocked. Fuchsia is a disgusting. Oh my. Whew. Um. Lio posted Discord logs. I think Lio's digging into them. In fact, I think they were offered to me. Maybe I think I'm right on that. I think they were offered to me. But unfortunately, they weren't the logs that I mean, I want the logs, but the logs that I'm trying to get a hold of, I'll never be able to get a hold of. Because there's a lot of shit that was said about me. Um, well, actually, not even just that. The logs that I want to get a hold of are the Prawn Hub chat that I spoke about in the FCK Maxim. One sec. But the FCK when I spoke about it in the FCK Maxim, the Prawn Hub chat, that's long gone. We don't have archives of that, and that's the worst. That's the worst fucking part of Fuchsia server. It was before it was removed because I was going to talk about it. So it's it's unfortunate. I mean, I'm glad that there's logs in general before Fuchsia tried to sanitize the server of every mention of me and every mention of like the Prawn Hub stuff and whatnot, everything that happened in 2020. But I just wish I could get access to the Prawn Hub chat, not because I want to see what's in there, but because just more evidence, like backing the few screenshots that I have that are censored, would be a positive. Because some people still defend Fuchsia and think that I'm just lying and making this stuff up. If I have to sit through this, you have to as well. Most of the SCC members have been in there for a long time. It's a because both the art commentary community and the slideshow commentary community derived from the DeviantArt community. That spawned both these communities. They're like cousins. They're incest cousins, okay? And they themselves engage in a lot of incest. And they love to say, "Oh, we're so different. We're such distinct. We're so distinct from each other. We're totally different, totally different." And yet they have several similarities. They watch the same people, they make the same arguments, and they partake in the same Discord servers. The SCC is just as I put it in the Maxim, I think, um, just the special forces for the art commentary community. What the fuck is up with Just a Robot? I missed a lot. I don't know. Has Jar uploaded recently? Let me take a look here. Oh, one thing I really loved, and I was going to talk about this in a TISM report, because I'm gonna do a TISM report to catch up. Then I was like, I'll just do a stream with you guys. One thing I really loved was fucking Lin calling calling Beckett a fascist, or that he had like he was had fascist tendencies or whatever. However it was that Lin put it, because it was obvious seething. It was obvious seething over the fact that what's her name? Um, she gave the call to Beckett instead of Lin. That's who I'm talking about. One second. Last time I tried to, you posted an apology video. What? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep up with the chat. But yeah, calling Beckett a fascist was really funny. I thought that was really silly. Yes, I saw Heaton's post about Beckett. It was really silly. I don't know what it is with her. Actually, no, I do. Um, it's a problem with a lot of them. It's just like immediately bringing up their fucking mental health. And oh my God, I'm gonna end up killing myself, or I almost did. Like seriously? You loved putting other people under scrutiny. You loved making videos dunking on them. You loved to victory lap, regardless of whether they were mentally stable or not. But now all of a sudden that people are poking fun at you for the stupid shit you did and your hypocrisy. Oh God, my mental health. Please consider that. Every fucking time. Yes, yes, Clef. Nezzy, and the infamous. My memory is so bad I can't remember that thing, even though I remembered that thing. Are you tired of winning yet? How did no one question the way Fuchsia referred to you in the very specific threats they threw your way back then? Um, well, here's the thing. Like it's because it was me. Like just that's just the truth. It was because it was me. Like it was acceptable to pretty much say anything and dunk on me at any point, regardless of whether I'd actually did something or not. In fact, this was actually one of the things I highlight in the Maxim was the SEC were saying I was being obsessive over doodles because I said two things in like a year about about doodles, and yet they had been nonstop running their mouth about me on Twitter, several Discord servers, several Twitter threads, and on several YouTube channels. Like it's just because it was me that it was acceptable. Same thing, and that will apply to anyone else that they hate, by the way. Like it's not just I'm not like special or anything. I'm not. I'm just one person that they consistently, win at. And there's going to be other people, no doubt, no doubt. And there have been other people. And so it was just because it was me, it was acceptable to do that too. I don't have the same politics that they do. And there is a sense of politics with it, unfortunately. Um, because they kept bringing it up. It's a reoccurring gag in the Maxim because they kept bringing it up. Exactly, Max. So Max said, honestly, people making fun of people for doing stupid racist crap and not taking it seriously is what everyone should do. Beckett is on point. Like all Beckett did was say that he doesn't actually seriously give a shit. So he's being honest and upfront with the audience, and that's apparently fascist behavior. Not giving a fuck about and not trying to control others' speech and finger wag over what they're saying is fascist behavior. Which, mind you, fascism historically has a record of trying to control language. So, like, not only is it wrong, not only is it obviously clear that, Linlin is just fucking throwing a tantrum and throwing buzzwords out because, oh, you gave Beckett the video, the recording, and not me, but it's also, like, completely ass backwards. Chuli's hate makes no sense since she shared their politics. It's because of hypocrisy. Okay, it's not just politics. I want to make that very clear. I'm not saying they disliked me solely because of politics. I'm saying that's only a factor into why they heavily disliked me. Another reason was because I just didn't cater to their bullshit and I didn't like reaffirm the things that they wanted me to in their narratives and their retelling of the events, which is why they say that I haven't matured, for example. That I haven't matured or changed as a person because I don't reaffirm their retelling of the events. And with Chuli did the thing that they selectively decide is a taboo: victory lapping. Because they were more than happy to victory lap about everything else. They were more than happy to victory lap dunking on me. They were more than happy. Heaton was specifically more than happy to victory lap about dunking on the people she didn't like. That included Junkie. That included the shit with the fucking those calls that the SEC. I love those calls so much. I love them. I have them saved. I'm so glad I saved them. The calls that like Doodles uploaded. Of the calls of the SEC people over the shit with like Ali Momeli and so forth, and uh, Oh, that was great. Like they loved to victory lap there and finger wagging the call, not and whatnot, and going at someone who could potentially be unstable. Oh, Crystal the Hellcat, thank you, with a 499 said, "What do you think finally made people start realizing and turning on the FCK and people who were just as hypocritical and inconsistent?" I think what did it was, by the way, just if you guys have any questions about anything about the FCK, like ask away, okay? Like this is essentially what this is, like the after party. I'm catching up with you, but this is if you have any questions about anything, ask away. But to answer your question, Crystal, I think it was a consistency. I think it was what consistency that did it, and I also think that people started questioning it when they refused to speak on it or when there was too many inconsistencies with their retelling of the events. Also, the fact that I was trying to get people to independently get their own logs. So anyone that we were inviting to the FCK, or there's Ren in chat. Everyone say hi to Ren in chat. When Ren was setting up the FCK Leaks Twitter account, I was like, you should get your own logs, get your own recordings, get your own export the chats. You're on your own instead of using the ones that I did and the recordings I took. Because if I have recordings and logs of my own, and you have recordings and logs you'd gathered, and anyone else that we invite to the server has their own recordings and logs that they've gathered, and all these recordings and logs show the exact same information, they can't say that I'm manipulating it or altering it or misrepresenting it, as Doodles tried to spin the situation that I was misrepresenting it. At Akumu, have you heard of Simply Dad and Yo-Yo 3639? They were considered problematic during the mid 2010s DeviantArt ranting days. I have not. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't researched a whole lot into the DeviantArt ranting days. I just know that the DeviantArt ranting spawned art commentary and spawned the slideshow community. But to comment on something that was said earlier in the chat, the SCC has such loyalty because a lot of them have been in the community for years since they were literally children. Okay. Um, and they were not willing to question anything. Now, here's my favorite thing about the SCC. If you go onto their wiki, Doodles and Nezzy's wikis have been updated. Okay. Particularly, actually, let me make sure. Let me make sure. I want to read it. I want to read it. Doodletones wiki. Hold on, I gotta read it. One second, guys. I'm gonna read this for you. Okay. Um, so actually, I think it was just Nezzy Monsters wiki. Nezzy Monsters wiki. Yeah, it was Nezzy Monsters wiki that had been updated. Okay, because initially Nezzy left on her own, and this will go to show you just how like they try to rewrite events and whatnot. Okay, Nezzy Monster left the community on her own in 2024. Okay, November 2024. All right. Yet, and they initially only had this first because there's two things on her page now when you go onto their wiki. There's the two little tag things, the two yellow boxes. Only the first one was originally on there, and that was this user does not associate with us anymore. They then updated it to try and make it look like they threw Nezzy out of their community. That they tossed her out. The little thing here because they did this commonly. When they would condemn someone out of their community, they'd update the wiki to say they've been kicked out. Little click shit. Okay. And they did the same thing where they updated the wiki to make it look like they had cast Nezzy out. But they didn't. They didn't. Nezzy left on her own. Same thing for Doodles. Well, they haven't updated Doodles wiki to reflect, being cast out. Doodles left on their own as well. But other people were cast out of their community for less, by the way, much less. So I think that's really funny. And here, actually, one of my favorite kickers to point out about the SEC, when they found out that Ren was behind the FCK Leaks account, Heaton, Boonslayer, Ephraim, and I think another one, immediately took to Twitter to make Twitter threads to bring up that Ren was behind the FCK Leaks and specifically bring up what Ren had allegedly did. Um, and and my favorite thing about that is they did not do that for any of the FCK members. They didn't make any Twitter threads about what Doodles was trying to do, about what Nezzy was trying to do. They haven't made a single one yet. Yes, the internet ruined a whole generation. I concede there. Okay, let me catch up with you guys. I'm non-binary, asexual, aromantic, pansexual, gender non-conforming, queer, gender fluid, and autistic, and I think Akumu, Lyle, Beckett, Gildapu, and Kristen are Ponder Sprocket, Mally Mal, that Mally Malware, that's who it was. Thank you for saying that, Blake. But I think the real downfall of the FCK one was because they were used to people taking their word as gospel. Yes, mainly in my opinion, they couldn't scare that too. It was desperately trying to like intimidate me into shutting up, or as Madlibs admitted in the hit piece in September, was because I was garnering an audience. That's why she admitted to that's why she made that video. I was garnering an audience, and I only had like maybe less than 100 subscribers or 100 at the time. It was fucking nuts. You see that one chick make an expose video with a bunch of memes. Dark Side Phil. No, I didn't. Twisted Toy Box, I'm aware. I just find it suspicious that she collabed with Nezzy and the other FCK members, but never took a moment to look up their history with Akumu. Oh yeah. Jamesy got on to Nezzy about it. Because Nezzy wanted to throw Teddy under the bus and say Teddy was a known liar. A known liar. Interesting that the person you were trying to get defend you publicly and guilt trip becomes a known liar when they won't do that. That's neat. And Heaton's whole, I was fed half truths. I was fed half truths, guys. Trust me. It's like you could have looked at the situation yourself. The videos have been public. Videos have been public on the matter. Pudgy the Bimbo. Hi. $5. Thank you for the five. Hello, party people. Hello. Um, hold on. Yeah, that's why she made the video on me. Was because two things. Was because I was getting supporters and people that were defending me, and she specifically referred to them as my cronies who were partaking in harassment. And her screenshots were people either defending me or showing support for me. Um, Ironically, one of the screenshots she showed in the video was one of the individuals that wanted to try and dox me a couple months prior, and shared the document that she had in her server. That actually no made the document that Madlibs had shared in the FCK server. Um, so that was neat. That was really neat. But the other reason was because I was accusing Nezzy Monster of the whole sexual harassment thing, and Nezzy, her, and Toby were trying to paint it to the public as though there's no accusation that Nezzy had made. It wasn't false, and I was falsely accusing Nezzy of making false accusations. What DC/Marvel villain would the ACC/SCC members be? I remember first hearing about you on the Cecil McFly 6-hour video where you bullied Kai Watts into crashing out. What DC would they be? That is a good question. Isn't there a condiment villain? I think that's who they would be. They would be the condiment villain, or maybe the Riddler. Maybe the Riddler, but not like any Riddler that's dangerous. Okay, like and not any of the cool Riddlers. Uh, Maybe Riddler pretending to be Lex Luthor, because they treat this shit like it's Game of Thrones. That's what I've always said, and I will continue to say. They treat this shit like it's Game of Thrones. Condiment man. You're the troll king. Thank you, Max, for showing me that on Twitter. That was like one of the highlights of that day. Was learning that was a thing that someone had come up with. A troll king up against Sonic. Oh, if you should said all kinds of things about me. The video's on my channel if you'd like to see it, Overlord T Lover. I need to find that clip of Heaton though. I really want that clip of Heaton. If I wanted to, I could be really over dramatic with it and be like, I could quote the Lich from Adventure Time. In succeeding, I lost all purpose. For his good riddance. Okay. I gotta take a look at this clip. How do I get it to capture it though when I'm looking for it? Where's the clips? All right. Go to transcripts. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Tell me if you guys can hear it. I will make you be an adult. You're gonna take the accountability. You're gonna take it the way you should be taking it. You are done. It reminds me that's the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Good riddance. Oh, you guys couldn't hear it? Okay. I'm gonna have to work on that. You're gonna take the accountability the way you're supposed to be taking it. You're done. Yes, that's why I said in Beckett's chat, I'm heatoning it. I'm also self-advertising your chat real quick because I gotta pay bills and I made funny merch of you. Seraphy, you're welcome to advertise as much as you want. Actually, in the TISM report that I was working on, I did plug you in there. Like, you made me artwork. It's funny merch. That's okay. You're fine with me using the artwork, so I have no problem with you plugging your merch. These people like unironically talk like anime characters and villains in their monologues, but I can't do it jokingly. Otherwise, I must be taking myself seriously. Crystal with another 4.99. Thank you. By the way, Akumu, I still want that interview with you on Discord. Uh, all right. Well, oh, speaking of which, I should probably plug the link to all my demons. But you have to be 18 and up to join. Nothing's sus about the server. It's just I don't want any situations where, because we do like talk about like adult things and make like jokes. So we're gonna keep it an adult only space. Much better than fucking trying to like, you know, do 16 and up or so forth, and it just avoids a complete fucking catastrophe mess. Oh yeah, take Max's advice. Please, like what he's talking about, Tails gets trolled. It is beautiful. It is a masterpiece. He's not joking. It is a masterpiece. Would you talk about Lily Orchard? I don't know. Like I've seen a lot of people talk about Lily Orchard. I don't know if you guys, well, I mean, this is sort of on the topic of Lily Orchard. I don't know if you guys saw, but me and Anthony Gramuglia got into a little slap fight on Twitter. I plan on covering that. Um, because he was just being extreme. He was either okay. I'll leave it up to you all. But he was either being really dishonest or really fucking retarded. Um, Continuously trying to say that I was arguing something I wasn't arguing. Yes, yes, it is Ren. It is beautiful. You fought with Anthony Granola Granola Bar. I made a tweet about the new Oblivion game for context. For context. And no, I won't be covering Lily Orchard, but I made a tweet about the Oblivion remaster because they changed the gender selection for body type selection. And this has been a new phenomenon that they've been doing for inclusivity, okay? And I poked fun at the people trying to deny that this is taking place and that this is an actual effort behind the scenes to do this. And I specifically poked fun at Anthony's video. Forced diversity does not exist, with a screenshot of it. And I was like, retards like Anthony Gramugula keep trying to deny its existence and whatnot. And a couple days later, like 3 days later, he found it. And he's like, I'm not sure you watched the video. Um, and I did watch the video, and I proceeded to give him a couple of my reasons why I disagreed with the video, particularly around a minute and it's like no, not a minute, an hour and something in is where I started to heavily disagree with the video. Not only because he contradicts himself, but also because like the way he goes about responding to the individual was using a half truth. Is this the pronouns drama? No, that was with Starfield, but Anthony was involved with that, if you're wondering. Why not response to him about it? I am. I'm working on a video just briefly going over the what caused it and then my disagreements and what that half truth was. It won't be too long. People got mad at that in Baldur's Gate 3 when they literally released the game with the ability to make your character physically trans minus top scars. Whoever says forced diversity doesn't exist is on Rika Takanashi levels of delusional. No, I would. Okay, so Twisted, I put it in my playlist because I watched it. And I like to watch videos that I disagree with. In fact, one of my favorite pastimes, and I say favorite in quotation marks, is trying to give BreadTube a try. Okay. Actually, I'll throw a link to all my demons in chat. But again, you have to be 18 and up to join. Okay. So if you're not, like, I that's just the way it is. Okay. Invite people. Copy. Here is, no, for some reason it won't copy the link. I don't, why is it not invite people? Why is it, I don't get this. I don't, okay, Ren, I'm just gonna send you the link and then copy it there because it won't let me copy it from here. I'm sorry. I'm just tossing you the link. Okay. I had to send it to someone in DMs. I decided not to send it to you, Ren, because I don't know if you want to join, but hopefully that works. BreadTube is like just leftist side of YouTube. I don't know why it's called BreadTube, but I tried to give them a try once in a while to see if I can agree. And 9 times out of 10, it's a really stupid opinion. Um, like for example, one of the things that BreadTubers tried to do, and particularly people on that side of the aisle tried to like paint Attack on Titan as fascist. And that's something I'm going to plan on covering. My idea is to do like a broad sort of content. Like, so I don't want to do just politics. I want to do like media coverage. I want to do obviously talking about niche communities. That seems to be my point of, I guess, excelling in quotation marks. Hey, Akumu, how long are you gonna stream for? I kind of have to step out for a bit, and I don't know if you'll be streaming by the time I'm on the treadmill. Probably about for another hour. I don't want to make this too long. I really don't. Um, I was trying to think of something we could react to. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I know what I could watch some more of. Where's it at? Here it is. Problem is I don't know if you guys can hear it, is the thing. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Everything's running a little slow. Okay, bunch of people just joined. I'm gonna close the Discord because that seems to be making things worse. Yes, unfortunately, ID verification, but if you don't want to do ID verification, just you can, if you want, take your ID, block out all the other details on it, and send it to me. So if you don't want to share your details, and I'll give you the roles. That is another alternative. I'm not going to do that all on stream and sit here, for the next 20 minutes doing that for everybody. But just give me a bit, and you can have that done. It's just to keep the people that aren't adults, out. Um, it's just much easier that way. If you, I mean, it's all right if your ID's expired. I mean, doing IDing people. Okay, let me see these transcripts here. I'm trying to figure out how I can get it so that you guys can hear it too. That's my problem. Akumu collecting evidence again. I see. Hey, it's very important. They drilled it into my head. Gotta have evidence. My evidence was non-existent, remember? There's no, like, in SFW chats. I want to make that very clear. There's no porn chats. There's no porn chats, okay? There's no fucking porn chats. I want to make that very clear. It's just no minors are allowed. Now it's been 5 years. Okay, how do I get it so you guys can hear? Will this do it? Maybe this will do it. Okay, tell me if you guys can hear it. Can you guys hear that? I'm playing the call with Nezzy and Thuman and Doodles. Yeah, do it after stream. Do it after stream because I don't want to sit here for like 20, 30 minutes doing that. I want you guys in there, but damn, no sound. Fuck. Okay, maybe if I make it very specific. Okay, okay. I don't know what the problem is here. Let me. Okay, maybe this will do it. Everything else is wanting to run fine except this, and I don't know why. Okay. Well, no, that's not gonna work. All right. You know what? I got an idea. Maybe if I add a new source, okay. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a new source. Okay. Okay, maybe this will do it.
Specifically send like very sexual like memes to them in the comment section of their videos. Were you
Can you
aware
guys
of
hear it?
their age? And did you ever like protest that more sexualized things shouldn't
I
be
was trying
sent
to,
or
sorry,
anything like
Lothar. I
that?
was trying to get this to work. I think it's
I
working now, though.
I didn't know about Xena putting sexual things in his comment section, but I did know how old he was because at one point I was in a stream with Toby and Libby, and she made an inappropriate comment towards him, and I think I said like, "Hey, don't say that shit. They're like 16."
Also,
That was Toby. Unless Madlibs did it, but I don't recall Madlibs doing it. I know that Toby did it, and Nezzy didn't say anything. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I showed this in the Maxim. Nezzy didn't say anything. It was Toby that corrected herself. She was like, "Oh shit, wait, he's a minor. I take that back." Because I think Toby told me to do something like with her ass, I think. And it was like, "Oh wait, he's a minor. I gotta correct that." No, that's Nezzy who's doing the he him pronouns, I think. Let me continue.
yeah. Also, actually it's something that's in Akumu's FCK video as well as the logs themselves. But I also remember Nezzy was like, Nezzy had made mention of Akumu's age at a couple of points, saying that yeah, hey, it's like he is just a kid. He'll learn at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Okay.
Well, the one thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the one thing that started his age being known is because he called me a millennial.
Oh, the Twitter
When I'm
thing.
3 years older than him.
Okay, so that like put you on. Okay, this is a kid.
Like,
Okay.
as I
Yeah, I
wanted,
did call her a millennial on Twitter.
I feel like no matter what I say, it's going to be misconstrued, so I'm going to try to do the best that I can. Um, I really hoped that he would learn and grow. I
This is the same sentiment that I would learn and grow. Well, I did learn. I mean, obviously I grew in size. Obviously I got better at editing and being able to express myself and get my points across. And clearly I learned because I shared the FCK server. So you wanted me to learn, but now you're complaining that I learned. Like, which is it? Or is it because I didn't conform to your ways that I didn't learn? Is that it? Because I think that's what this is. I think it's, well, he didn't conform to what we wanted, therefore he didn't learn. I think that's what that is. Your voice dropped. I think that could contributed to people hating you less. Probably that too, because I'm much more tolerable to actually listen to than before. Not as high pitched. Well, that's the thing too. Is like, what exactly were you expecting me to learn when you're dogpiling me with false accusations? That it's okay for you to do it, because that's what I learned. That it was acceptable for you to continuously make things up while proclaiming that you're trying to clear the air and correct false narratives. You created a false narrative. Like, what did you expect me to learn from that? Like, I'm supposed to not see the hypocrisy there? Am I supposed to say, like, was I supposed to be blissfully unaware of what you were doing, like the rest of your audience was? I there was a dead body. Let's continue.
Didn't think that he would try to do this.
When you say this, could you like explain what you mean?
Dank side Phil,
So
isn't
there's
it
a
okay
lot
so
of
long as the opponent
evidence of
doesn't
him
fight back?
kind of following me around,
Mm-hmm.
and
There it is. There it is. Here we go with the victim. Here we go with the victim card.
it's not great.
Do you think like
Akumu
he's
has
yeah, no, go ahead, Susie.
Akumu kind of was stalking and harassing Nezzy for like years before this.
You see, here's the thing. So Lio approached me wanting to, apparently because Doodles wanted to have a call with me. Okay? And I was open. I don't know anything about this. I'd love actually to do this call. And this is what made me want to, because initially I was like not really that interested, because what is going to be talked about that hasn't already been talked about. But then listening to this, 2 months ago, this made me really interested in it. This, you know, I harassed and stalked Nezzy for years. But all I did was look at what Nezzy was doing publicly on the same social media accounts that she's had for years. Which, mind you, she didn't have me blocked for the longest until this situation kicked up. And not only that, but they were watching my Twitter account for in fact, Nezzy and Ponder admit to that. Then they were doing so and talking about doing so on the FCK server. That was okay. That was acceptable. Then they were doing so to make the hit piece that Madlibs made. Madlibs was watching my Twitter account at 3 a.m. That's when she screenshotted that from her own fucking screenshot. So it's okay for them to look at my Twitter account. It's okay for them to look at what I'm saying publicly, but I'm not allowed to look at what they're saying publicly. Don't forget they had a spy on my Discord server. Because what Madlibs did was she had someone spy on my Discord server, then tried to conceal who that spy was, left out the fact that Slumers joined my Discord server so that she could peddle the notion I was still going after Slumers. This is all in the big hit piece that I've re-uploaded, and that's been re-uploaded. The September one, the A Year of Harassment and Accusations video. And then in that same video, tried to compare my Discord server having racial slurs in it to Fuchsia's Discord server having. I'm not even going to get into all that, but you know what I'm talking about when I talk about Fuchsia's server. So it was just insane. What they mean by harassment is that you looked at their tweets. It's and a pedally is harassment by law if you look at someone's Twitter or something if they hate you. Okay, I'm just looking at chat.
Which was
Years
actually
before. Hold on, years before the Madame situation.
no, years before
because
this
of the
current
death
situation.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And by the way, if anyone or Lio himself is watching, or I'll message him, I'm still very much interested in the call with Doodles. Although I think Doodles has perhaps changed on that, considering the the rest of the videos have all been privated, but I'm very curious on what the answer is going to be for this, and what qualifies as harassment stalking, because if what I did qualifies as harassment stalking, then they and their communities did it on a scale far greater than I ever could. But again, that requires self-awareness. So
So
Oh, do
we
you
Like,
want to talk
have.
about it?
is our friend went over some of his videos and showed a screenshot of all the times that he's mentioned me. And when we got into a call in Senate
oh
last year, he brought it up again. And uh,
oh,
he
by the way, this
just
call was April 11th of 2024. So this was the interview that was done last year.
has not gotten over it.
I see.
I think that there's a straight up a DM that Susie has, and I could be remembering it wrong, where he basically told me he intended to take me down.
Yep. He intended to take everyone down one by one. That was.
Yeah.
That was something that he had said. I could probably find those DMs if you want them.
It's really shocking to me how they do this. We may have spent a year, making hit pieces falsely accusing him, but the fact that he intends to take us down one by one, how could he? Why would he? What could possibly make him want to do that? I wonder. Yeah, exactly right. I wonder why.
Okay. Oh, yes,
So
please.
this,
If you
Let me turn
can,
this up for you
definitely
guys a
share.
little bit.
see, this
Okay.
is why it's incredibly disingenuous. I'm not saying that I didn't make mistakes. I 100% did. I was being a fucking
Okay, how is it disingenuous though? If I'm completely transparent about what I'm doing and my goal, how is it disingenuous? Like, you're not saying I'm lying about you. You haven't been able to point out one single lie. In fact, Doodles admitted in the video that's now taken down, the video that's privated, that I covered and then Doodles' audience reported, and I got a community strike for it, that they couldn't cite a single instance of where I was lying. So they instead went the direction of claiming that I was dishonestly presenting it. And then their example of me dishonestly presenting it was that I was correcting my own misinformation that I was putting out. That I was correcting myself. Or better yet, the Doodle's other example was that I wasn't telling you, the audience, who was most guilty. That I was letting you decide for yourself who was guilty or not by reading the logs. Those were the two examples given for me dishonestly presenting it. That's how fucking desperate these people were to sweep the shit. Disingenuous. I I tell you exactly what I'm gonna do. I tell everyone exactly what I'm gonna do years in advance, and I'm disingenuous for following through.
irresponsible fuckwit teenager. But this is just none of the focus is where it should be. And
Me when I'm an adult, my worst enemy is some 16-year-old. Speaking of which, Twisted Toy Box, this is one of the reasons why I say the call that Lio held with me and Nezzy was biased. Mind you, I love that call, and they walked away from that call thinking that, they had me, that they got me, which is fine, because in the end, the call ended up being exactly what I needed to show that Nezzy was remembering things perfectly fine and using the memory excuse as an excuse. But in that call, Nezzy's never pressed for evidence, not one fucking time. Never. I'm pressed for evidence and I provide evidence, especially when Doodles at the end tried to suggest that I went back to our DMs to edit them to make it look like to change what I was saying in our DMs to conceal it. Which of course didn't go anywhere because then I whipped out the screenshots and it said the exact same thing. Like that's how fucking desperate they were to get me in a gotcha in the call. And it didn't go the way they wanted. And then Lumi, Heaton, and Nezzy were coping after the call because I was sharing the early FCK series videos in there. Because I made a meme, which you guys can find on the channel now. Destiny still arrives, the precipice, which depicts me as Thanos entering the FCK server. Mind you, she knew since then. Nezzy knew since 2023 that I was still going and keeping with my word of making the series on the FCK. She knew this. I mentioned it in the call. She knew this. But then she just told herself again and again and again that I wasn't going to do it. And was, when she put out her statement in 2024, pretending to be surprised that the series is coming. It's copium. That's all it was copium. Ain't no party like an FCK party. So I don't think Hopeless Peaches has an SCC wiki. I don't know. I don't think she would. She's not. I don't think she's a part of them. The Ren, yeah, Ren's, well, the bin, but that's Ren said. None of the focus is on where it should be, so you focused on me, lol. Yeah, so none of the focus is where it should be because you're talking. Here's the thing though. Throughout this entire conversation, I've tried talking about each of the FCK members. Okay, and anything that I have in regards to what could pertain to the FCK server and the FCK itself, I've talked about anything that I could, and that was definitive with the Maxim and important for it. But because I dare to shine a little light, some light on what Nezzy did, on what the others did, oh, the attention isn't where it should be. Because Nezzy was wanting to slide on by, and Doodles was perfectly fine with that.
I really don't like that.
Where do you think
I
the
bet you
focus
don't.
should be in?
On the victims. It should be on the kids.
Mm. And now it's in.
Now it's on people like, well, it's like the Fruitcake Leaks has been making it much about themselves and their beef with the slideshow commentary community. Akumu has been making it.
Okay, that's right here's dishonest. You want to talk about dishonestly presenting? Right here, Doodles. Right here. Right here. This is where you did it. You did the very thing you accused me of. And here's how. I'm not gonna just claim that this is dishonestly presented, because unlike you, I know how to actually use logical fallacies and point them out. Unlike you, I know what logical fallacies are. So Doodles goes, well, FCK Leaks is making it about themselves and their issues with Lio in the Senate. Almost like Lio chose to get himself involved in the situation on the behalf of Peaches. And then when he found out that it was FCK Leaks, that Ren was behind the FCK Leaks account, he immediately told everyone in the Senate, which of course included the SCC tards, who then immediately made Twitter threads trying to take the attention away from the FCK Leaks account being FCK, being about the FCK, to being about Ren. And saying that the evidence should not be trusted and whatnot because it's Ren. You guys want to talk about well poisoning? How's that for fucking well poisoning? But that was okay for you all to do. And then because I pointed out ahead of time in my TISM reports, you tried to fucking delete it all. So oh my gosh, this person who we decided to target and bring up and try and bring up what their okay, I'm stuttering here. Point is, these people brought up the situation with Senate and the SCC drama with Ren first, and then they're shocked that Ren is talking about it on the FCK Leaks account. That is how, again, this is how desperately they tried to flip the fucking situation. And Doodles is dishonestly presenting it here by not including that key piece of context that they picked the fight first, that Lio involved himself first, and then decided to bring up FCK Leaks being Ren, and that was so important. Lothar says, "How dare you expose their hypocrisy and destroy their reputation, Akumu? How could you? It's just a little grooming, nothing big." Every adult FCK member ever. That is not a party I want to attend. Sorry, Seraphi. If you're an artist and you're a minor, an FCK party, there's no party like it.
Is a beef with Senate and Lio, and the victims haven't even been.
You mean because Lio picked the fight with me first on behalf of Beaches and said that I was going to misrepresent the FCK logs? Like, this is how they spin shit. They leave out what caused the initial reaction, and then they focus on the reaction and try and paint it as dishonest, or try and paint it as exaggerated and undeserved. And they do that by avoiding what caused it to avoid rationalizing it. I talk about this in the FCK Maxim with the Art and SCC audience. This is what I mean by, this is why I said that the audience has, I'm not going to blame you all. I just mean as the audience as a whole, many of them have partaken in this same thing and they've adopted these habits. And that's why this problem has gone on for as long as it has. And I show this in the FCK Maxim with people who have defended Ponder and have defended Desi. They will, and even people who have defended Lyo, they will leave out what caused the thing that they're complaining about, or that particular thing, to avoid rationalizing that, so that they can make that person look ridiculous or try and use that as a point against them. For example, case in point, Ephraim from the SCC, February 28th call, 2024. He was like, well, oh my gosh, all the people in the FCA all happen to be people that Akumu dislikes. What are the odds? That's pretty much what he said word for word, by the way. And this is uploaded on my channel. And yet I wonder why I dislike all the people that happen to be in the same group. Perhaps it's because they did a targeted, smear campaign. Oh no, because mentioning that would rationalize that. We can't have that. Can't have that. They did the same thing. The SEC in particular did the same thing in their private, because they think that I don't know what they said behind the scenes. Back when I was talking about Nezi and what Nezi had been, the various Twitter twitlongers in 2021 and 2022 and 2023 that Nezi's released, lying and trying to cover for her actions. The SCC's response each time was to avoid bringing up what I was talking about, to then complain that I was talking about Nezi, in an effort to defend Nezi and Sweep. Yeah, I know about that. I don't think that just because your servers are private that I wasn't told anything. So it's just that thing where it's a habit that the audience has picked up from them. And this is a perfect instance of it. This right here.
Considered once. The victims have not been talked to, at least to my knowledge. They haven't, like...
That's false and that's a lie. Doodles knew that I had talked to Slumers. In fact, they were aware that I got the logs from Slumers. This is said in multiple calls. This is said, I want to say it's said in Doodle's own video on the situation. They were very aware of how I got the logs, which is from Slumers. Slumers invited me into the server. So that is one lie right there. Secondly, by this point, I had already, I'm pretty certain I had already covered the fact that I spoke with Jamesy. And I had been speaking with Jamesy, and Jamesy knew I planned on covering this. So, just complete falsehood. And not only that, but I also tried speaking to Teddy beforehand to try and get Teddy to come out about it. Yeah.
We haven't seen any discussion to the victims by Akumu or by Galbanom, who runs the Fruitcake Club Leaks account. Those two have been effectively making the situation about pretty much everyone else and shotgunning a bunch of spotlights where they shouldn't be.
You mean where you don't want them to be, where it's most inconvenient. Where it's most inconvenient, of course.
Like the people who need to be able to take, the victims need to be able to take back their stories, and that is why I'm so glad that you are talking to people and that you are trying.
Take back their stories implies that I stole it. That implies that I stole their story. As if my entire point hasn't been to uplift their stories. In my experience. That's the entire point, was to get people to talk about the FCK as a whole. That includes what I went through, that includes what especially they went through. Whether it be Teddy, whether it be Slumers, whether it be Jamesy, and the others that, the whole point, but we also can't make them speak up on it, okay? And so there's this is one of the things that the Senate did early on. Give me a second here. They said, well, I was, they presented this idea that I was stealing the story from the victims and that I needed their permission to talk about it. Which is really silly because I don't know where they got this idea from, and secondly, it's almost like a Freudian slip. They're going, well, you don't have the permission to talk about it because they don't want it talked about. But I did have the permission to talk about it. Jamesy and Slumers knew I was going to, and they both helped me. Jamesy gave me testimony initially because originally the original FCK series, by the way, was just going to have testimony from the both of them. But then I got a hold of the logs, and I didn't need to have testimony, just testimony. I could use both testimony and the actual logs. Showed no, yeah, exactly. But making claims and no evidence, of course. But this is why I actually do want to talk with Doodles. Now, from what I remember, I think Doodles wanted the call to be private, and I was like, I'm not really comfortable with that. I don't like that idea, and that's not no. Like the whole point of this is to be transparent with the audience as much as possible. I've repeatedly promised that with the TISM reports and so forth, and um, you know, I'm not big on things behind the scenes. I'm not really that. I don't really like that and to go that style. Um, but I would enjoy a conversation because of this call. This call is wonderful.
To get those stories out, and that you are trying to reclaim, or like help them reclaim their stories rather.
Yeah, I do want
Hello.
the victims to kind of tell their own stories, and specifically, I want to focus on the ones that, in my opinion, were the most nefarious, which is Toasty Vanilla and Miss CZ. And the reason why I say Miss CZ is because they were very sexual with some of the actually minors in the chat that were 15, 16. And I think it's very weird that a 20-year-old is talking, or 23-year-old is talking to a 16-year-old sexually. So I'm gonna be focusing on that, but I will.
And also, mind you, knowing I was 16 at the time, and I wouldn't. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Not even just knowing that I was 16, but calling me kid and little boy constantly. That's what they would do. And calling me a child.
Will be mentioning the fact that there were a lot of other creators in the chat that even shared some inappropriate content in the chat, including Nessie Monster and Madlibs, who did that. But I also want to, that's why I wanted to talk to you and kind of pick your brain as to how that kind of misjudgment happened, so that I can maybe add that to the video and give an explanation as to why that kind of thing might have slipped your mind. And I feel like the biggest criticism for you and Madlibs isn't that you put children in harm's way, because misjudgments can happen to anybody, in my opinion. This isn't something to cancel you over or to cancel Madlibs over, because it can happen to people, right? I think what people are most, like the general public, are the most like upset about is maybe the hypocrisy that happens in there, where they have seen you maybe hold someone else accountable for a similar situation recently, and then they're like, well, Nezzy did this in the FCK, so why are they lambasting someone else for a similar thing, or something that maybe isn't as serious? Or that Madlibs maybe talked about drawn art or putting children in danger in art in their channel, but then they overlooked and shared inappropriate content in a chat where children were directly involved. So I think that is like the biggest criticism that people have for you two specifically. But I don't think this is. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was just agreeing with you. My bad.
Yeah. So yeah. So basically, just long story short, I feel like that those are like the biggest criticisms that you two have. That people might also have throughout the video. But I also want to make it clear that you guys, that was your only technically like overlook or negligence that happened, is that you didn't speak out or bring more awareness to the Toasty Vanilla situation. Because for
Yeah, I agree with you, Void. It is diabolical work. In fact, almost every single one of them did this. Miss CZ made a video calling out Speet, you know. Um, Madlibs made videos talking about stuff like that. Toby made videos, and mind you, also drew, you know, the mind you, had not only drawn that same type of shit she was complaining about, but then at the same time, when there's real minors that are being in a very much adult space, shown pornography, pushed to draw it, and just having various sexual topics discussed with by multiple adults and whatnot. Oh, who cares? Not that big of a deal. Like that was one thing that actually like astounded me as I was working on the Maxim was just how they were more worried about fictional fucking characters and in their little hypocritical crusade over the fictional characters. And that's why I think ultimately that's why they did it. I think that's why they did it. I think deep down these people, and this is going into more schizo territory, okay? I got no evidence for this, but I think deep down they fucking knew what the problem was with the FCK server, especially because they knew that I knew, and I agree with Beckett, by the way. Beckett was 110% right when he said this. This is back when he's reacting to the FCK Maxim, and this is the best piece of it. I think one of the best pieces of advice that Beckett said. Looking back, I shouldn't have done. I should not have told them that I knew about the FCK server. The fact that I told them in DMs, Fuchsia, Madlibs, Nezzy, and Xena, because I told each of them pretty much in the DMs, gave them the opportunity to delete more from the server, and they could have. It would have prevented this, but they didn't because they thought I was just bluffing and you know making empty threats. But I shouldn't have told them because that did risk them deciding to potentially just delete the whole server, and wipe the server and delete stuff. Um, so I shouldn't have. I agree there. But yeah, they knew that I knew. And I think that they've honed in on the whole Toby situation, the shit with Ben. One, because firstly, Ben was already, a spotlight was being shined on him by Kiwi Farms and other people, okay? Um, that was already happening. And so they wanted to distance themselves from Ben because they didn't give a fuck about what he was drawing, really. Like the main focus throughout that entire conversation, you can clearly see is that he publicly posted it, and then they continued to hang out with him after he had posted it, just under the promise that he wouldn't post it again, because he promised Madlibs and Teddy that he wouldn't do that. Remember? And I think deep down they knew that what the problem with the server was, and they wanted to distract from it. They wanted to distract from that. They wanted to distract from the shit that they were doing publicly, including Nezzy and the rest of the FCK. And they were able to do that by going at Ben. I think it was the perfect distraction, and they just didn't expect their hypocrisy in the situation with Ben to blow up. They didn't expect it. They thought that they still had the reins in the situation to keep bullshitting people. That's why eventually Madlibs ended up disappearing for a bit and then just dropped YouTube as a whole. But Nezzy was able to stick around. Fuchsia was able to stick around because loyal audience. Nezzy was able to stick around because loyal audience. The SCC defending anything Nezzy ever pretty much fucking did. So it's interesting. Sweet science at its core. Akumu threw a feint, and they fell for hook, line, and sinker. Oh, hold on. Evan in chat. Let me see what Evan's saying. Diabolical back shots. FCK was just a harbinger of freaks and degens. Yeah, I need to pay attention to chat a bit more. Their audience are kids, and that's a scary thing to think about. Yeah, their audience is kids and young teens, and I feel like that's also and very loyal. And because I think there's several factors to that loyalty. A, they're young, naive. Secondly, I'm not a very likable person, objectively speaking, and like I offend a lot of people. That plays into it, especially when there's different values at play. And I don't mean just politically, but I just mean like I don't really care for a lot of the things that these people pretend to care about. And that's another aspect to it is they have to pretend to care about things that they really don't give a fuck for. And um, I think it was that, and I think it was also the fact that they had so many different people telling them the same thing from all these different sources and whatnot that they fell for it. It's called brute force consensus manufacturing, something like that is what it's called. Where you can get people to believe something is true if several sources claim it and peddle it. But hold on.
For example, when I was going through the logs, I noticed that Toasty was being extremely degenerate, very over-sexual, very predatory, and very hypersexual to everybody. They're basically sexually harassing adults and minors in there. So I'm just wondering, why didn't anybody call them out publicly on this? Why didn't, if people saw that they were like this and they distanced themselves from him, why was no videos made on him? Why didn't anybody warn the public that, hey, maybe you guys should be careful about this guy, you know? Or sorry,
I
this
think
girl.
because I think because around that point, like
Mm.
they dipped.
Yeah, I was talking about this with a lot of I was talking about this with Susie and Lio, in that I I kind of realized in hindsight that I didn't know what to do because I was, and I know that people are going to be like, don't use age as an excuse, but I was 19.
Mm.
And because Akumu lies about my age in his video. He says I'm 20, I'm 19. I was 20 when I left.
Okay, so that in and of itself is a lie. If I said you were 20 and you were 19 and 20 in the server and you were 20 when you left, and I said you were 20 when you were in the FCK, how the fuck is that a lie? This is just pedantry. This is just pedantry to force this notion I was lying. In fact, I have a tweet of her self-admitting that she was 19 and 20 while in the FCK. I was a 19-year-old minor, guys, and she really loves to hone in on the fact that she was 19 uh, for her part of her time in the FCK. But okay, you were 20 and still making excuses and lying for Toasty. What about that in Ponder server? How about that? You were 20 when you were lying in Ponder server when people were asking you if Ren's video was true, if what Ren was claiming about Toasty was true, and Toasty and no, not Toasty. Nezzy said that everyone in the FCK were adults. When asked if he was showing pornography to minors, that the people he was showing porn were all adults. That he had a problem of spamming porn, but that he did it in a space that were all adults, despite knowing at least 3 of them weren't. You were 20 then. So this whole age thing is fucking ridiculous. And the fact that like she stayed like she clung to that as long as she did, I'll tell you what, if there is a fucking therapist, if there is a therapist, like that's a lot of fucking work they're gonna have to put into. Even then, I don't think you can fix this. This is 5 years worth of the same fucking habits. Okay, this is ingrained deep. Okay, the vanitism is deep. You cannot fix this. Um, and a lot of people are like, well, like Lio and I disagree on this, and other people are like, well, you're not trying to help the problem. When talking about my criticisms of this community, how can I? Well, one, I'm telling people about it. I'm showing people these habits and this evidence and so forth. So I am trying to help the problem. I'm just not trying to come up with alternatives because what is there? There's no alternative you can make to this aside from just stop doing it. Like, you want me to teach you how to lie better? Is that what you're talking about? Like, I'm not doing that. It's a better help therapist. They do not have doctorates or life. Is this confirmed? Is this confirmed? The better help therapist. Is this confirmed? Because I don't want to go running with that if it's not true. But she told me she was 17 years, 12 months, 364 days, and 59 seconds years old, sir. Because if it's a fucking better help therapist, oh god. Alex the critic in chat. Your Honor, Akumu called me Nezzy, but my full internet handle is Nezzy Monster, so he's a liar, and we can discount anything he ever says. This is the level of argument we're dealing with. That's perfect. That is perfect, Alex. Thank you. I appreciate that. Here's the thing. I want to know who Doodle's therapist is because from what Doodles has admitted, like, they're literally like very much chronically online. So I want to know what Doodles has admitted. I want to know if Doodle's therapist is actually a therapist because apparently they're watching my videos. Which, by the way, if you are watching and you're real, hi, how you doing? I hope you're having a great time. I hope your sanity isn't fleeting. Okay, if you're real, but it's just man. I mean, just the fact alone that I know that someone else is talking about me to the therapist, if that therapist is real, if is it's just asinine. Bro, I swear these people are just allergic to taking the L. They'll always try to weasel their way out of it, even when it makes no sense. Yeah, which, mind you, they and their audience were insisting for I needed to take the L years afterwards, when I was actively trying to walk away and leave the situation be, so long as people were going to stop trying to rewrite history. Oh no, the therapist. So apparently, Nezi's dad got her a therapist as a birthday gift. That's which me personally, if someone got me a fucking therapist as a birthday gift, I'm gonna take that as more of an insult than anything. Oh yeah, I mean, you know what? Actually, considering like, whew, I mean, they got to be raking in the dough. Okay, Waifu, they got to be raking in the dough with someone like Nezi. If they're real, they're raking it in. Okay, they're swimming in it. No, no. So the grandma thing, Doodle's grandma. Here's what happened. Doodle's little brother. Okay, imagine. Put yourself in the shoes here. Okay, I want you come home one day and you find your brother is drawing himself in diapers and getting off to it, and it's very sexual. You find out about it. Okay, your older brother, and then somehow you muster up the courage because you're very fucking confused. You end up going to tell your grandmother about it. And that is how Doodle's grandmother found out about the diaper fetish. And apparently, from what Doodle said in the journals, thought they had a mental illness. Which is why, by the way, Doodles had to use the alt account to return to the roleplay that apparently made them uncomfortable. You know, because when you're having a conversation you're uncomfortable with, you go back to it. You do everything you can to go back to it. You make a new account and you immediately return to it. That's what you do when you're uncomfortable and you don't want to continue a conversation with someone. And you're given the perfect out to not continue that conversation. Um, and you just go around it. You find ways around that perfect out. That's what you do. But let's continue.
Which is when a bunch of puzzle pieces started coming together where it's like, oh, I'm an adult, which means I need to do adult things.
Mm.
And when it came to that, I didn't know what to do because who would have believed me, in all honesty?
Oh my god! Who would have believed me? You had an entire audience of thousands, at one point hundreds of thousands, believing anything you said. What do you mean, who would have believed you? Platinum Amex. What is the plan now? So I'm working on a bunch of different other videos, across like several different subjects. Niche internet drama, but not like art related. I got a video like that in the works because I've talked about it vaguely before, but it's in relation to the Mugen game. But um, I have that in the works. I plan on talking about a little bit of media here and there, and maybe some games that I'm interested in. Obviously, like Mugen, so the niche internet drama is going to sort of intersect with gaming a little bit, but not. It's not a very popular game. It's actually a really old game that has a dedicated community to it that I'll be talking about. And then I'm working on a video explaining the whole stuff between me and Anthony Gramuglia. It's very brief, very brief. I got a boys video that I'm trying to really like perfect, but yeah, I got a bunch of stuff in the works. I promise. It's all like in bullet points and stuff like that right now, though. Make a video on how Ren and I are the best ever and deserve all the money. From my time in Japan, one doesn't simply gift a therapist, lol, so I don't know if Nezi's blowing it at his ass that he has a therapist. I'm honestly astonished by this. Who would have believed me? What do you mean? You had an audience dedicated to believing you no matter what the fuck you said, no matter if it made any sense, no matter if it contradicted anything you said. And not only that, but would make excuses for your actions at every fucking turn. What do you mean who would believe you? Ridiculous.
I don't know if anybody would have believed me because I didn't have screenshots of the FCK. I didn't have voice recordings.
No, you just had friends that were in the server that could have gotten you the screenshots. Oh, and then you had your DMs with Toasty that you tried to put out this year thinking that would save you. Yeah, okay.
I had was the times that I went at Toasty, but that's not enough. I don't have her DMs with other people, and then there were so many creators in there with bigger audiences, and if I said something wrong, if I did it wrong, then their audience could potentially get mad at me.
You had less evidence on me and still made several videos. You had the DMs. You could have talked to Slimmers. You could have talked to any of them. You had your you had your DMs with Ben that you apparently brought up in the call with Lio, and that you agreed with Ben the Looney about the Slimmers chat and the hypocrisy of it. You know, the thing that you said, you know, you totally didn't do, that it was actually about getting rid of the chat because you had a problem with it, and then later admitted that it was because Ben was threatening the group and you agreed with his point about hypocrisy. So you wanted to get rid of it because it could become an issue. Okay.
I see. So you were kind of intimidated to be quiet because of their connections.
Yeah, I don't want to say it like that because I don't like being weak. I don't like the fact that I look back on this and I didn't do fucking anything, and I get
No, you
pissed at
did. No,
myself.
no, you no, no. Hold on. It's not that you didn't do anything. It's the opposite of that. Oh God, I look back and I'm so upset with myself that I didn't do anything. I just happened to lie for the guy when asked about if he was doing that thing in a server full of people that would have happily talked about him if they knew. But I lied, and of course the people immediately believed me because I had an audience that listened to me. But who would have believed me?
Susie can tell you because I've been complaining to this about it for 4 years.
Oh yeah. Oh, not even just 4 years. Like it's you just got angry that Akumu wouldn't stop harassing you for 4 years. It's been since this situation started that
Oh
you really
my
have
God.
like felt the regret of not doing things sooner, and we've had
So I
plenty of
forgot about
conversations about that by this point.
because I
Yeah,
forgot about
no,
it
that
for
was
so
kind of
long. I didn't think about it.
yeah, no, cause
You know, after this amount of ride or die fucking dick riding that Doodles has done for Nazi, and really, you know, the situation, I'm not shocked Doodles wants to leave because this is pretty fucking embarrassing.
like that yeah, that was kind of the thing. Like after we all dipped, I don't think like any of us
Yes,
had any
Doodles
of the
always
logs or
uses this
stuff. None
fucking
of us
fly
had
voice filter.
like a Discord exporter wasn't something that any of us knew about. I don't think. Maybe a couple.
No, but you knew how to screenshot. You guys did it all the time. You did it with me. Like, you know how to take screenshots of Discord. You did it with other people. You took recordings. You know, like of the situation with V Omega. Like, really? Oh, we didn't have exporters back then, but you knew how to screenshot and you knew how to screen record.
People did, but I sure as fuck didn't. Um, so like obviously that wasn't
Like-
something that was really gonna come to my mind either.
Yeah, and I
kind of-
closed the
Which is
DM.
kind of some.
So sorry.
Which is something that I've been kind of kicking myself over because man, do I really want that that conversation with Ben the Looney, because I rewatched Minty's video, and it's not good.
So regarding Minty's video, actually, I looked at some of the dates.
Well, good news, Doodles. That conversation with Ben the Looney ended up coming out. Oh wait, really we got a hold of the entire Slimmers chat, and you happened to be in it. Ooh. Oh wait, hold on. Later, Thuman asked them about Lucy's video. Hold on, we're gonna jump to that. We're gonna be jumping a little bit ahead here, but we're gonna jump a little bit ahead. Hold on. Okay. Because later in the video, apparently they bring up that I like right here they mention the Nezzy thing again, that being 20.
Akumu says that Nezzy is 20 in the FCK video specifically, but yeah, he's been at this for years, And you would
You just admitted earlier to being 20. Well, Nezzy did.
think he would have his story straight. But
Oh, we're going to talk about getting our story straight. See, this is why I want that call. I would love that call. It would be great. I need it. I need it.
like, I
Yep.
don't know. I've been going through his videos and I've been finding a bunch of things that like he is just not being honest about.
Well, name them.
I mean,
I
he
would be
accused. Sorry.
I would be very careful about like talking to him and associating with him and getting information from him. Like
They're warning Thuman about being careful and talking to me and associating with me.
he's right on a couple of things. But Akumu speaks in half truths.
Oh, that's interesting to say, Doodles. Again, Lyle, I'm messaging Lyle. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta remind him. I gotta get that call. It would be great. I speak in half truths. I want examples. Oh boy, people are DMing me. Hold on. I'll figure that out, Cash. I'll figure it out. Where are you at? I think this is him. Yep. Hey. So about that call with Doodles? Question mark. Oh my, that was loud outside.
Mm.
I have come to learn. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
It doesn't help the fact that he thought the FCK was specifically made about him.
No, I didn't. I'm on record countlessly saying the FCK was about was made for the Madame. I talked about it then. I talked about this is actually this lie. This is a lie that mismemory issues has been repeating since 2022 or 2023, one of the two. This lie goes back to a twit longer Nezzy put out, pretending that I was thinking that the FCK was made for me and that I was claiming that, even though I did not claim that. I said that they made the group about me. That's always been my claim, and that's objectively true. Toasty himself admitted it and said it in there. But, yeah.
Like, it was made to talk about him.
Mm.
And, like, it's just been a fucking mess. He never got over it. He never got over it.
It's a little difficult to get over something when you have an audience of retards, bunch of window lickers, continuously bringing up accusations of things you didn't do, which are arguably potentially against the law, accusing me of attempting to dox a minor, among other things that I didn't do. And then the person who, accused me of that admitted privately that it was false, but never fucking corrected it.
And
I shortly asked him about the FCK, and he told me that he felt like you and the other creators in the FCK that were older than him at the time ganged up on him and would go and share his videos in the FCK chat logs, and then go and comment on his stuff, like negative comments and stuff like that, and that he felt targeted by a lot of the bigger creators there as a minor.
And absolutely, he should have a right to speak on that part. I don't disagree on that. Having gone back through the logs myself, I was like, this is a little weird that they're beefing with a 16-year-old like this.
Yeah,
the very most that the very
You did the same thing. You took part in it too, Doodles. Because let's see here. And actually, this is something because Lio had asked me some time ago right before he had mentioned a potential call with Doodles. He had asked me if I thought Doodles had owned up to their part in what I dealt with. And I thought about it for a couple days and I got back to him. And, ultimately I said no, because what kicked off Doodles being involved in the FCK hit piece that was made by Madlibs, the A Year of Harassment and Accusations, was I was poking fun at Doodles on Twitter for the role plays and for defending Ben the Looney back in 2017 or 18, okay? And Doodles, one Doodles pack of idiots, as you saw in the FCK Maxim, were losing their fucking mind over it. But Doodles then proceeded to partake in the big hit piece on me and proclaimed that they had no idea about Ben the Looney's Ben the Looney drawing under his pornography of underage characters, which is a fucking lie. And this is provably a lie because if you go back to the video that Doodles did, it was one of the worst of the year video lists. Go to the one with Arkham Knight Rider, I believe his name was, and he was covering Ben the Looney, and he specifically talked about the fact that Ben's porn was of underage characters. And Doodles refers, in responding to Arkham Knight Rider, refers to what Ben has done as Ben's more open ideals to pornography. So it doesn't shock me that Ben was also in the FCK server either, and whatnot. Doodles had defended him prior, and then tried to lie about it in 2020 in the video on me, and never admitted to the fact that that was a fucking lie. One that Doodles could have easily known, because Doodles did go back and check with quotation marks to provide the context, which was the fucking lie. So, no.
The very most that I partook in was a video that Madlibs had made where I just called him transphobic. Shrug. Like...
Oh, no, hold on. No, that's not all you did. See, this is what I mean. Doodles left out the fucking, the lying about defending Ben the Looney. Oh, I just called him transphobic. No, that's not all you did in that segment.
I remember not tweeting. I remember shooting in a DM because somebody had DM'd me about like something in that video. That's all I remember. And then the video that Lucy did on Akumu when they're like 2 years apart.
Okay. I was 16. Lucy was, I think, 18. Yeah, 2 years apart. You still think that's appropriate to go say, you can call someone a cum chalice? To say that, they're, mind you, because I was so horrible. And yet, I wasn't the one saying that someone breathing their existence made me uncomfortable and that I wanted them dead and that they were cum chalice. Or telling them to, in detail, suck my pink pubed dick. Like, for a community against harassment and saying mean things, mean things, it was sure okay when Fuchsia did it, and you guys shared the video around, and then you tried. Many of you were defending Fuchsia. So.
And Nessie, you were in a video with Ponder Sprocket regarding Akumu.
Yeah, that's what started it.
Yeah. So I think that they're like really invested in this FCK thing is because they feel kind of vindicated now that they have the logs, they've noticed and seen that, okay, the things that I thought were going on behind the scenes were actually true, but people don't want to admit it. I think his biggest thing is he just wants an apology.
Is it okay if I talk a little bit more about that comparison and the history of...
And here's the thing, it's not even that I wanted an apology. I just wanted, like, the objective truth of the situation spoken about. Like, transparently, in its entirety, fully. Not, selectively hand-picked pieces of truth inside a narrative, peddled to the audience to cover things up. That's it.
With Akumu?
Yes, of course.
So... I don't know if it says differently in the logs. I don't know if I'm remembering something wrong. But I didn't send people to him. I don't control what people do.
You literally admitted to having one of the SCC people watching my Twitter account, and they gave you a screenshot of my fucking tweet where you admitted I wasn't trying to dox Lemurs. What are you talking about?
And I think at one point during the call with him, I actually apologized. Like, hey, like, yes, we could have handled it differently. I told that to him. That's in a call.
The only thing Nezzy apologized for me for, I've checked that call again and again and again. The only thing Nezzy apologized to me for was partaking in the Madlibs hit piece and specifically apologizing for falsely accusing my friend at that time of sexual harassment. That was the only thing she apologized for. She's on record saying that she still stood by the Ponder video, even after admitting that she previously admitted that I wasn't trying to dox Lemurs. So she said that she stood by a video where she knowingly peddled misinformation and false accusations, and also proceeded to finger wag about me supposedly not doing enough to conversate, even though previously admitting in the same call that I incessantly nagged her for conversation. But then first it was I at least 3 times reached out to her and tried messaging her. Then it changed to she only remembered one time later in the exact same call. Because Nezzy's the type of individual whose memory conforms to whatever is needed in the moment. So if she can recall something that benefits her, so she can complain about it, such as I was incessantly nagging, trying to message her and talk to her when she didn't want me to, and then specifically giving the number 3 for how many times I had. But then later, when I point out that I had tried, now it became inconvenient information. And then she's like, I only remember one time. That's the kind of person we're dealing with, which must be an absolute fucking nightmare for their therapist, if the therapist is real.
Um,
And like you can fact check me on this. Like I said, my memory's bad. But you remember this and that. It's like that's almost like how memory works. I don't know if you know this, but I'm more likely to remember the first 150 Pokemon than my breakfast. But I don't like that comparison. I don't like the dumbing down of the Tippy situation and the dumbing down of the FCK situation, because that's what it is. It's dumbing down both these situations in order to grasp for a comparison. I don't want to be fucking compared to Tippy either. I don't want to be compared to Tippy.
No one's really comparing you to Tippy. The point being made is that you did worse than what Tippy did. Sure, the situations have their differences, but point is, you're finger wagging for shit where you did worse. You didn't just it wasn't because, as I said before, it wasn't that Nezzy did nothing. As much as she wants to present it, because it's much more charitable to her, and it's much more charitable to present to the public as this idea that she feels bad that she did nothing. It's not that she did nothing. She did the opposite of nothing. She actively avoided discussing it, and she actively lied so that it wouldn't be discussed, and that people wouldn't look into it. People would just believe her claim that all the people in the FCK were adults.
Because we did not do the same thing. Me not talking as a 19-year-old when surrounded by other content creators is not the same thing as actively telling minors to stay quiet. I was not in contact with anybody other than maybe Teddy and Wada. And I didn't tell them to not talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't silence anybody.
But calling the victim a known liar isn't that? Whatever. Okay.
I talked about it publicly.
So it's a misrepresentation of the facts, basically.
Yeah, I know that I was an adult. I know that. But I was also 19. Is that a good thing that I did that? No, it's really shitty that I did that. And as someone who's almost 24, I would never do that shit again because it's fucking irresponsible. I don't like this like picture that people are trying to paint me as like being some type of predator. I was irresponsible.
Yeah, I don't think you or you or Madlibs were predatory in the slightest. I think you were negligent. But that is the extent of, I think, you guys' involvement.
I also just don't like the fact that it's completely ignored that I did try to help at one point, whether it was for the right or wrong reason. I did try. I tried.
Hold on, wait. Whether it was for the right or wrong reason, okay? So keep in mind the story, because I think I know what Nezzy's referring to here. From that wording there, I think I got no proof for this. This is an assumption, so take this with a grain of salt. But with the whether I did this for the right or wrong reasons, I think Nezzy's referring to. We're gonna continue here. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm right.
Yeah, and I will definitely make that known in the video, because I feel like actually I might not even need to let it.
I think what Nezzy was referring to there with "I did try to do something" was the messages to Toasty, to get the Slammers chat removed. and whether I did it for the right or wrong reasons. Okay, that was an early foreshadowing of the fact that Nezzy did it to have it hidden, which was later admitted to Lyle. Because Nezzy agreed with Ben and Ben had threatened the group, which is the thing I had been accusing Nezzy of. Not for, deleting it because she actually had a problem with it, because it could become an issue, per her own wording. That was a slip. That was a slip up there. I bet money that was a slip up there.
Be known myself. Teddy, actually, when I interviewed them, let me know already then. So it's in the interview.
Exactly.
And also,
Ren.
I talked with other minors, and all of them had the same sentiment that you didn't have much like sway or much. You didn't like negatively impact them at least, and your involvement was minimal. Is the consensus that I got from many different people.
But yeah, that's pretty much my like the things I kind of wanted to focus in on with the Nezzy call there, which I'll probably cover those pieces in a brief little like a brief video just to add it to the series, because I couldn't put it in the Maxim, unfortunately, and I I'm not gonna do another Maxim. Okay, that defeats the point. But we'll see. I might add to it. I don't know. I do know that the stuff with Heaton's pretty interesting. I've actually been a little interested in maybe talking about Heaton. I don't know. I've like tossed the idea around, but like the thing I want to talk about with Heaton is like very hyper specific. So it's really not that important. That's something that manipulative liars will do at Akumu. They'll say something that is kind of true but not so bad, as if they're called on it doesn't seem so bad. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was, I've been trying to convey, that's a habit Nezzy has done for years. I can give you multiple examples here. With the sexual harassment accusation, it was completely intentional and completely fabricated. She's, on record, Teddy only said she was made uncomfortable by it. Teddy never said it was sexual harassment. Nezzy took it, propped it up as sexual harassment, and then couldn't even admit to being wrong about it. That's why she repeatedly lied about her own fucking Discord announcement immediately after the situation. Then kept, trying to proclaim that I was falsely accusing her of making false accusations. She allowed her friends to peddle that same lie, Toby and Madlibs, and then in 2021 tried to downplay her actions by blaming me, saying I didn't provide her the evidence when I did, and that it was an accident. And then she continued to push the notion that it was an accident, so forth. It's what individuals like Nezzy Monster want to whittle down what their action was and what they did behind it, okay? And they like to omit certain details because of that, so that they can downplay the action, so that it seems like it was a mistake or something that was accidental. They want to make their mistake less than what it was, so that you don't have as much of a problem with it. Or if someone does have a problem with it, to other people, such as their audience, like the SCC, it looks you look ridiculous for having that issue with them. To onlookers, to the surrounding people and social groups. Which is why, again, this has to be an utter fucking nightmare for either their therapist is falling for it, as have many people before, or it's an absolute fucking nightmare for the therapist, and if the therapist exists. And in that case, Godspeed. Okay, like, good fucking luck. I I seriously doubt Nezzy is, if Nezzy's remotely transparent with their therapist. Hello, Asuka. Yes, Heaton. I was talking about Heaton before. Speaking of Heaton, actually, now that I've got this working, if you guys haven't heard the beautiful monologue that Heaton gave, that Chuli wonderfully put in her video, you're going to hear it now. Here it is. Let me make sure. Is this it?
good riddance with a thumbnail of you looming over the cowering people you're ostracizing, wherein you continuously scream into your microphone about them, tout how they'll never be allowed back into the community, and even out new accounts that one of them is making.
Tippy makes an alt account because of course she does. She wants to take accountability after all.
Oh, look, right here. Here's an example finding someone's alt account, okay? I only looked at people's social medias that they, used attached to their whole fucking, like, internet thing, okay? And that was public, okay? That it was public, and I looked at it for to screenshot evidence. And they had no problem doing it to me, but apparently me doing it was stalking. Something that Heaton, has peddled that I've stalked and harassed Nezzy for years. Here she is, finding someone's fucking alt account on Discord, and then sharing it. Well, not sharing it, but showing a screenshot of it with the username censored.
Keyblade then leaks his DMs with Susie to a private server. Tippy joins in on trying to paint her as two-faced, of course. Tippy has another alt. If none of you...
Actually, here's the best part. Here's the best part. Heaton said that I sound whiny. That like, Heaton, who sounds like this, who sounds like a squawking little, long, very, very long neck squawking individual with no spine, saying that I sound whiny for having the issues I had with Nezzy, who talks and sounds like this.
You can be adults willingly? Fine. I will make you be an adult, and you will take the accountability in the way that you should be taking it, not the way you want to take it. No hiding, no running. You are done. Good riddance.
So you're allowed to do all that and then defend yourself by being like, yeah, I just have the hot take that pedo enablers and shit stains don't deserve my civility, but I'm a piece of shit because I included crab emojis. Okay. Another huge reason as to why I'm bringing this up is that one of the people in the thumbnail, who is also the person whose new accounts she kept exposing, publicly expressed suicide.
Which, by the way, this video is fucking phenomenal, so if you haven't already seen it, please watch it. It's great. It's really good. A lot of Chuli's videos recently have been fucking great. Really good points. Really good points. Yeah, watch it if you haven't seen it. Heaton. Actually, several of the individuals that Chuli has discussed recently are their own rabbit hole into the slideshow community. Just shit that the community did and allowed to happen that's catching up with them. Oh yeah, accountability. That's their buzzword. I can't help myself but laugh now. And they really don't like the fact that I don't take them seriously when they throw that word around. But like, how am I supposed to? Like, they've thrown this word around for years while continuously propping up the same people that also threw that word around. But were happily fucking trying to, drive me into the ground because I was talking about things that were objectively true. And I'm supposed to take them seriously when they use the word accountability. No, listen, okay, what this is band kids and theater kids, and not particularly any good ones, okay, that didn't do so well in high school, that banded together for some Mean Girls Game of Thrones LARP. Okay, that's exactly what this is. And they happen to be autistic, so there's a couple of reoccurring fucking trends, okay? But that's what this is. It is people creating these online spaces and then trying to curate them to such a degree where they become echo chambers and safe spaces, and all the people around them tell them the exact things that they already believe, and no one questions a fucking thing, because if you do, you're going to be fucking dogpiled. Accountability, nuance, and credibility. No, that's the sad part is the thing that we call art commentary community, because they branded themselves art commentary community, isn't even really about art. Like, the only real thing about art is they occasionally will have some fucking slap fights over art styles occasionally, or maybe some drama will start because of that. But ultimately, it's just Mean Girls LARPing as Game of Thrones with art in the background. That's ultimately what it is for a lot of them. Not all of them, because there are some people that genuinely do talk about art mostly, and then occasionally dabble in drama. But them dabbling in the drama, it's a slippery slope. This might strike some views as harsh, but I believe that everyone involved in this story should die. Norm Macdonald. Have you seen the Hasan versus Heaton debate? No, I haven't, but I do plan on watching it. A lot of people have brought it up. Art of lying. Yeah, it's the art of lying. That's what they talk about. That's actually perfect right there. Okay. Credit to Pasta Liz. They do talk about art. It's the art of lying. Okay. It's the art of brute forced consensus manufacturing. That's what it is. That's what they're really good at. They're really good at that. And I'll give them credit. They're very good at fooling people and bamboozling people. But, eventually, this is a saying that came from the Chernobyl series I had watched. It's not mine at all, but the quote is, every truth we tell incurs every lie we tell incurs a debt to the truth. And at some point, that debt must be paid. Okay. And when you do shit like this, and then continuously LARP as these accountability figureheads holding others to the fucking fire, and then you're Pikachu facing when someone just wants some consistency. It's really weird. Stop using something as such an excuse, good God. Yeah, I agree. Norman Osborn instead of Norman Donald. Social credit +1. Well, they have their own sort of social credit system. It's basically kind of accountability. Oh, yeah. That's a good point, Inla. That's a very good point. Start liking. 81 viewers. Come on, guys. Come on. If you guys like more, I'll stream more often. How about that? If you like more, I'll stream more often. If you're going to lie, you have to be good at it. Yeah. Not only that, but these people like to tell like really intricate lies, and they like to lie about things that they know other people can't exactly fact check very easily. Which is why things often get buried. I'm telling you right now, there's probably shit you and I, like me and all of us are never gonna fucking know about of antics that they've done, because the people that have partaken in it the people that know about it have either moved on and don't care, or it's in some fucking old Discord server or old group chat. Especially because there are several like Discord servers and group chats referred to in the FCK server. So you're never going to know the full extent. That's something I wanted to really stress with you all, is there is a lot of shit that goes on behind the scenes. A lot. And I've always fucking hated that. Especially because if that shit isn't upfront with the viewer. Like, so many people were surprised that the Toby drama initially kicked off because of the FCK and from the FCK server. Because it just was something that was mixed in the muddied waters that was that drama. If y'all like more, I'll get in a call with Akumu and autistically explain the plot. You know what? Fine. Sure. Get those likes up. And maybe a few more donations, and I'll sit in a call, and I will, even though I've never, that's not true. I have played Kingdom Hearts. One time when I was like 5, and I actually have the game in like 5 or 6, something like that. I was really young. It was on a PS2, and I have the game in perfect condition still. So, you know what? I'll sit in a call with Seraphy on live, and Seraphy can explain Kingdom Hearts lore as I try to understand and, I guess, take in the information. Press dislike button. Yeah, that is true, Inla. And I'm not saying we deserve to know absolutely everything, but I think that one of the good things that I think comes from the FCK situation, aside from the fact that one, there's transparency and whatnot, and two, Slammers and Teddy and Jamesy and whoever else can talk about it and not exactly be questioned or accused of being a liar. And the third being, I'm not, called this schizo conspiracy theorist Alex Jones of the art commentary community. The fourth thing I would say for silver lining is people can now grasp exactly, not exactly, but not always, but that there are so many things that happen behind the scenes. And people do like take the time to sit down and plot shit out, unironically. Hi, Fluffy. Hi. This is someone who, by the way, helped me get a better understanding of OBS. Fluffy and Beckett, both of them. I spoke with both of them to try and get an understanding of OBS. You interested in hearing how every villain in the franchise is the same person from different points in time? You know what? That's a commitment right there. That's petty commitment. Okay, that's generational hating, like Dio. And that's the only thing I know about JoJo, by the way, is that Dio is a generational hater. Don't listen to Clef, he just hates me for no reason and shit talks me constantly. Oh my god, Clef and Inla beef. Alright, let me check my Discord real quick. Alright. He also made a channel dedicated to clipping me out of context. Really? What's the channel called? I'm gonna listen to it. Or to gander at it. Also, Chuli made a post today. I don't think I've gotten to read it yet. We're gonna read this. Not the announcement yet. I've heard of Blaze and Christopher camping out in some streamer, particularly VTuber, always a fucking VTuber, Discords, so I've decided to make a comprehensive video about Christopher on Thursday that has all the calls that can be easily shared around, especially to the VTuber community. Yeah, again, VTubing. Always VTubing. It's not petty commitment. Bro is traumatized and wants to blame everyone except his own ass for leaving his team in the woods. Interesting motive. Akumu, can I eat a Hershey bar? Why are you asking me for permission to eat a Hershey's bar? I just see the whole FCK situation as the DOS, the do's and don'ts of a Discord server. Yeah, that's a good way of seeing it too. You know what? Fair. VTubers have a lot of drama of their own. So that's why I was like, I wanted people to share the FCK Maxim in their spaces because it's like they're just gonna have more people flocking into their community, and then okay, ban Seraphy, ban Seraphy. 5-minute timeout. 5-minute timeout. Even if it's a joke, 5-minute timeout. I will never say that again. Why are you asking why I should ask you what's wrong with that? Why are you asking me if you should eat a Hershey's bar? But yeah, no, VTubers, they don't need that. I don't think they need that. I've had to deal with a bunch of VTuber drama bullshit. I was joking. Oh no, Seraphy's been eating for 5 minutes. I'm hoping they're only in timeout for 5 minutes. Evan, did you put them only for 5 minutes? Please tell me it's only for 5 minutes. You don't fuck Seraphy. VTubers have the same petty drama as the ACC, but it's under the nice, cute facade. You said to do it. Okay, yeah, that is true. I did. So, is it only for 5 minutes though? Like, was it just for 5 minutes? Okay, good. Because if it's only for 5 minutes, that's fine. I just didn't know if there was an actual option for it. Yes, Seraphy, learn your lesson. Adding fuel to the fire of drama. That is what I'm apparently really good at, so. Being banned for the truth? You're about to be next. You're about to be next. Mean Girls, but with anime? Inla? Absolutely correct. Mean Girls with anime. And please don't hold a grudge and burn down Akumu. She'll probably come in and plug her her merch afterwards, which is fine. I got no problem with it at all. In fact, I encourage it. What was the ban of 87? A lot of VTuber. I noticed that too. Yeah, it's always about like you copied my design and all this shit. You see, and my word of advice is go for a simpler design. Because the first one that I came up with for me was, I mean, it was simple, but not simple enough, and also like very Attack on Titan inspired. Um, still, of course, like just in the birthday suit, but very Attack on Titan inspired. Um, and then I worked. I think the same artist that ended up doing the thumbnail for my Ponder video had also previously done like the official design. Um, and we worked together to come up with the look of it. You copied me because you use green. Seraphie gonna start a villain arc. Respect all women unless they do something I don't. Oh, my phone just buzzed. Oh, someone sent me advice for OBS. Thank you. Um, Saint of Salt. I will save that. I'm gonna have to save it if I'm gonna try and remember it. Get it down. Joe Cat. I think Joe Cat was the guy that went after people for the fucking playing the Hogwarts game. But he's lecturing people about harassment campaigns afterwards. I thought was really fucking hilarious. I thought about getting like a VTuber model, kind of like Beckett did, to move around. I have. I thought that'd be a little fun, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm still debating it. It'd be fun though, especially if I ever covered like VTuber shit, or if anything else pops off in the art community maybe that I find interesting. They sometimes have dramas of them sleeping with their producers so they can tell them to get rid of people they don't like. That's crazy. I mean, it's not actually that crazy. What am I talking about? It's really not. That goes on in real life with all kinds of other jobs. It's really not that crazy. I mean, it's ridiculous it's going on in the VTubing community, but I wouldn't be, surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. That's what I should say. I was surprised, but I shouldn't have been because that is something that people do with other jobs. I'll take 20 copies, please. Is there other inspirations for your unique style? So the official look was Attack on Titan. It was based on Attack on Titan and a couple of other characters that I liked. So it also had the pointed ears, the goat sort of. They're originally based on like goat ears. Um, Also had horns. The horns were a bit different, but it wasn't. It was sort of in, and then it had like a mouth similar to the founding Titan of Aaron's. So it was more weeby. Okay, it's definitely more weeby. All right. Um, and edgier, objectively speaking. Um, but then with the second look, I based it off of Full Metal Alchemist and Similar things of like the horns and the color scheme of another character. I can't remember his name for the life of me. But I mixed a bunch of different elements, gave them to the artist, and then she like gave me a bunch of different designs for stuff. Cause he has an apple specifically to reference Light Yagami, um, and so sometimes that's why he's drawn with an apple. I wanted that to have that in there because it's becoming a running gag. It's becoming a running gag on this channel. It's like the third impact, but for VTubers. Evangelion reference. I miss stock photo Akuma. Don't worry, it'll be back. It'll be back. I still use those for videos. Don't worry. Especially that one that I'm working on for that niche Mugen stuff. You guys are gonna get a full timeline of drama from that. And if you think, I mean, it's just as autistic with the FCK. The only difference is there's no degeneracy. Okay, so you're gonna get a really autistic, really ridiculous, but really silly, like other community niche drama stuff. But it's not gonna have any of the degeneracy. Okay, so that's what I want you guys to look out for, because it's not gonna have any of that stuff. Akumu Yagame. Stock photo Kumu will appear in my next video. Oh yeah. Yes, you'll get your Mugen drama. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's really you're gonna get a full timeline too that spans multiple years, because it's been a thing that has gone on, and it's had its ups and downs. It's stopped for a bit, then kicked back up. It's gonna be real good. Don't worry, Inlay. The stock photo of me will be back. Okay, you want me over Patrick Bateman sitting in a chair? Don't worry. All right, I'm making my first ever ACC video on Akumu is the meanest, most ableist, most awful human being who banned me for calling him. Oh, I'm not. No, okay. For calling him daddy. Really? All right, I can't wait for the video, Seraphy. I can't wait for the video. I miss when drama was about internet beef. How many pedophiles are in Mugen? So far, none that I know of. I swear it's got none of that stuff. It's just gonna be about internet beef. Okay, Inla? You're gonna get a video just about internet beef. Good old Mugen beef. Oh, Silver Fox. Hi. Referencing Adam for some stupid reason. Uh, no, but the leaf does. He has a leaf. He does have a leaf, because birthday suit. So he's got a leaf. That is a reference to that. Now other people have like drawn me differently, right? Some people have given me clothes. There's Coffee did the official art here and gave me the Tism report fit. Actually, no, this isn't the Tism report fit. This is the same outfit of the old stock photo of me hanging. Um, but Coffee has drawn me in all kinds of various very cute outfits, very nice outfits, very 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 dapper in some of them, and even the Tism report suit with the red tie. Yeah, that is true, Inla. I don't think the video will do so hot, but I think some people will like it. It's legit just gonna be a stupid tiny animation of Akumu dancing. Really? Really? We'll see, Seraphy. We'll see. Draw him. Okay, Evan, delete your own message. Banned. Get out my chat. Mods, add one atom to each of his molecules. You were drawn as a maid and a cow before. I can't unsee that from Twitter. Yeah. I've been drawn as a maid multiple times. Then I was drawn as a cow. That was neat. Coffee is the goat. Okay, I love all the people that have done fan art for me, all of them, and I plan on doing like a video for you guys. But Coffee's the goat. I need to commission Coffee. That's what I need to do. I need to commission Coffee. Absolutely, or at least pay Coffee. I am the you are. I think you might be. There's a couple of maid dress artists now. That's new and funny as fuck. I stole it from a meme. I'm just gonna let you know that now. I took it from a meme. Okay. I paid $100 for Smeagol with titties. I will pay Rum to draw you pregnant. What is wrong with you? I have a really awesome piece for Akumu when the final FCK video comes out. Oh, okay, okay. Well, hopefully it should be this month. I'm getting back into the groove of stuff. So I'm working, but here's the thing though. I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. I'm working on multiple videos at a time, which probably isn't a good idea. Okay, but I just want to be able to like, because I don't want to just work on the final FCK videos. I want to be able to like work on again the Mugen one, and then the video about the Anthony Gramuglia stuff, which that one's relatively short, yeah. Um, why are people drawing you in maid dress? I don't know. I just know that it started with someone. I think it started with Seraphy. Um, I thought the last FCK video was the last FCK video. The Maxim. So in the Maxim, I mentioned I was doing 2 more videos, which were videos that were pushed back because of the beef with Lio, which was the coverage of the Madlibs hit piece, and then the other one was it was either going to be about Darkness Stone and throwing some jabs at him and Ponder, or I'm either going to change that out for the coverage of the Nezi call. We'll see. Akumu as a maid isn't enough. I need to draw him as a magical girl. Someone has drawn me as a girl before. I drew him in a maid dress because I drew Lio as Sailor Moon, and Akumu was saying in the draw, "This is bullshit." Lio got to. That's right. Yeah. Why did you draw Lio as Sailor Moon? Stone ended up deleting. Well, what happened with Stone was he partook in the collab with Ponder, and you missed it. But the first video, they unironically talk about committing perjury. They don't admit that it's perjury, but it is perjury. The argument that they make because they're doing their lawyer LARP, which is really funny because then Ponder wanted to separate herself from the lawyer LARP despite doing it for years. And they're doing their lawyer LARP, and they unironically proposed the idea at one point of committing perjury to make a point in court, which is fucking hilarious. And then later on, just as the things that come off the top of my head as to why I wanted to cover it, was I think in one of the other episodes, Ponder proceeds to claim that I was trying to deny Slimmers being sexually assaulted. But she claims that I was arguing that, despite not arguing that. Like, it's another twisting of my words thing. Yeah, it was about me. Like, one video focused solely on Madame, but the rest of it was about me. About me and Madame. And he thinks that I dislike him solely for covering me and not because, well, he was a dishonest, shitbag in it. Or the fact that his server was filled with all kinds of accusations and nonstop chatter about me that was really fucking delusional. She did it for years, but since you went after her awful videos, she stopped doing that. Yeah, it's impeccable timing. It's really great timing that she no longer wants anything to do with these communities. I love it. It's good timing. It's good timing. I should commit tax evasion to prove a point against someone. Thanks for the idea. Basically, the first video, the lessons learned in lawsuits video, they proposed this, bullshit lawsuit that obviously isn't gonna fucking happen. Okay. So. Oh yeah, no, that's true, Inla. The problem though is Stone and his server members tried to lie about it when I pointed it out. And they tried to say that they barely talked about me. So then I was like, oh, okay. It's because I made a community post about it. Because they banned me. Okay, so think back to when I posted the Ponder video. They were fucking shitting a brick over my Ponder Part 1, by the way. Like, I'm not kidding. The first message when they sent the Ponder Part 1, my Ponder Part 1 in there was, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, so I was like, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to try and help these guys understand. Maybe they have some questions or some confusion. So I did, and they banned me, and then I made a community post about it, and I mentioned in the community post that they were constantly talking about me for years on end. To which Stone and his members tried to deny and proclaim that they barely talked about me. So then I was like, okay, you know what? Why don't we look at the logs themselves and get a number idea? And the second I offered to do that, they ran back to the server and started saying that they should hide the chat. They should remove the chat because it's becoming a problem for them. That's impeccable timing. Now you want to remove the chat now that I'm saying I'm just going to get into the specifics of it. And then they removed the chat, and then later Stone ended up getting rid of his server because I said that because he was being a fucking coward and dodging just talking about it. I doubt I don't know I doubt is it I doubt or I don't if it was asked what did you think of Chuli's videos on Nezzy Monster and Heat Mitsuru? They were amazing. They were great. I loved it. Um, I thought they were really funny, made a lot of really good points, and Chuli highlights the hypocrisy and the gall of it all so well. So well. It was a really good time. It was a good time watching them. And then watching other people react to them as well. So when I watched it myself, I had a good time, and then being able to watch other people watch the video that I had already seen was, pretty funny on average because they were laughing at what Chuli was saying, and then also pointing things out like Beckett and so forth. And I think there was another streamer I clicked on that I can't remember their name or who it was, but yeah, it was good. It was nice. But if you guys want a brief rundown of an idea as to what's gonna happen and what we're gonna be talking about in the Mugen thing, okay? So basically, we're going into a bit of weeb territory. I don't know if you some of you, most of you guys are probably weebs, okay? And I dabble in some weeb stuff too, okay? I'm a weeb too, all right? I'm just calling it what it is. Just calling it what it is. But the idea is, hold on one second. Okay, for the FCK to act so big and bad, very surprising that they were intimidated by one 16-year-old. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I don't know if it was intimidation, more so just because I don't want to prop myself up like to that degree of I was this big bad because I really wasn't. Like, actually, the fact that they may have been intimidated by me, despite the fact that I sounded like the way that I did, is pretty funny. It is pretty funny. Um, which they made sure to focus on the fact that I sounded, low T, as they said, as someone said in Fuchsia's server, and Fuchsia also made fun of the way that I sounded. Um, so I don't know. It's neat though. But the Mugen situation, okay, that has been going on for a couple years now, actually since 2019, 2020. Also, ironically, so that was actually coinciding what was going on with the FCK stuff. So you're going to learn about some lore and some other stuff that I was doing around that time, and how it's sort of this internet beef that's gone on around the same time, similarly to the FCK stuff, is when it also happened. And then it sort of kept going for a little bit. It stopped for a bit, so you're going to get a timeline of that. But basically, to put it in short, imagine, okay, imagine you're in art school, okay, and someone takes your artwork and other people's artworks and they cut up your artwork, okay, right? They cut up your artwork and like they print it and they cut it up and then they glue it together. They Frankenstein it, okay? And sure, that is a form of art. However, they present it as though they made it themselves entirely and don't give you any credit for the fact that they took from your work, okay? And that's all they did was just copy and paste, okay? They cut out certain pieces, copied and paste, all right? And they don't want to give you credit, and they say that you and the people like you are unoriginal and they're original. And then they start selling that work, okay? So they start selling these Frankenstein creations of your work and other people's work, saying that you're unoriginal, refusing to give you any credit, okay? And then say that they themselves are original, and you are just jealous of them. You're just jealous of them because you can't do what they do. Okay? That's what we're kind of talking about and so these individuals couldn't handle a few jokes thrown their way and a little bit of mockery because they wanted to prop themselves up as as original when they were just using other people's stuff and not wanting to credit. Which it's fine to use other people's code in Mugen so long as you credit. And even if you don't, it's not that big of a deal. But when you're selling other people's works as your own and Frankensteining it and selling it for fucking $80 or $30, and you barely did anything to it, and it's mostly comprised of work that other people did, and then you're saying that they're unoriginal and you're original, it's fucking nuts. Like you're delusional. You're delusional. And so that's the idea. That's the idea. Yes, you guys are going to see the proper term of credit theft because I used that term years ago. You're going to see why I used that term and why I thought it was fitting in regards to comparison for plagiarism. Okay, so it in a way I guess it has relation to the FCK, but it really doesn't. Your upbringing is the most interesting thing. Is the most interesting I've seen as edgy teen boy, and everyone went up in arms about it. Yeah, yeah. Which is interesting because a lot of them like they really don't like how edgy I am, but like Lin was when talking about I think it was Kai Wise. I could be wrong on that, but I have a fucking screenshot of Lin talking. I'll read it. I'm gonna read it. So I'm not potentially called dishonest for this. Okay. Hold on. Where's it at? I love this. I love it. Hold on. Is this it? Where is it at? I think I moved it to something. Oh, there. No, there it is. There it is. There it is. I have this screenshot somewhere. And is it? No, it's not in here for some reason. Okay. Well, fuck it. I'll just paraphrase. I'm going to paraphrase here, but I got this screenshot of like Lin, I think talking about Kai, saying something about like hanging him over a street light and eating his fucking entrails. Like, I'm not joking about that either. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Surely I've got it somewhere. It's really funny. But I think it was about Kai Wise. I could be wrong. But I was like, man, for people who really complain that I'm edgy, they say a lot of fucking like crazy shit. Donate so Akumu can get a better computer so he can help me make. Yes, yes, yes. The more donations means I can get a much better computer, which means that I can do more videos much quicker, and also don't have to worry about like this thing crapping out midstream because that was one worry that I had. Because I did a test stream yesterday because I decided to reschedule. And I rescheduled for a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons was my computer like fucking crapped out during the test stream. I remember I think it was in Omnia's video about Lin. Yeah, it was just fucking crazy. The people that were in Fuse's server who were also complaining about how edgy I was were talking like, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna throw some shade at them. It's been, they were just audience members, but let's just say on a lot of these servers of these people that really don't like me, they say a lot of unhinged shit. But me being a little mean, oh, that crosses the line. Oh my, we got gooning allegations. I didn't know they were selling fighters in the community. Last time I was involved, they had to do trades or secret codes to download them. Yeah, so selling has become an interesting topic because on one hand it is illegal, but on the other hand, if your work is entirely original, most people don't care. I myself included. And most people sell things temporarily and then put them out for free. So you get access to it early kind of thing, which I think is much better ethically wise. But some people will take others' works and only either change the AI to it and think that that's because mind you, anyone can fucking change an AI, and they think that if they make the AI more aggressive and they increase the damage numbers, which is really fucking easy, anyone can do that as well easily. You don't even need a YouTube tutorial to do that. You can just go to where the damage output is and increase it. The most simplistic changes, they think that if they do the most simplistic changes, they can sell it for how much whatever they want, and they think that if they put a big price tag on it, that makes it good or quality work. And it doesn't. It doesn't. So we're going to be talking about people like that in the community. Edgy should never be safe. Oh, safe edgy. Ugh. Edging safely. Hold on a second. What are you... Hold on. What's this conversation in chat? Seraphi's replying to Evan with, "What colors for the dress?" All right, at Loather, at Evan, "What colors for the dress?" What are you talking about? Hold on. Loather said, hold on. Where was it at? He's a pretty princess, right? Gotta be pretty light, powdery pink. What are we talking about? Oh, Lyo's here. Lyo's listening. How you doing, man? Never say please. Uh, no. Seraphy, what do you think you're doing? It? Damn. Calling Lyo an it. A soundboard bite. AI is the true problem about art. I wonder when the ACC will talk about it. Some of them are talking about AI, and some of them are like completely against AI. I don't know if you remember this, but when Chuli did the Heaton video, people were complaining, particularly the SCC side of things and the art side of things, some, but mostly SCC, that Chuli used AI to recreate Heaton's voice to narrate the things that Heaton did say. Actually, Nezzy complained about it. I was like, "Get this AI shit out of here," or something like that. It was something like that. Magical girl. Okay, all right, Seraphy. Do you want another 5 minute timeout? You want another 5 minute timeout? Evan, get the button ready. I should start to wrap things up though. But if you guys enjoy these streams, I'll do them more and talk about like, random stuff. I'm gonna try and get the window to actually pop up this time, so it actually like shows what I'm watching. But yeah. All right, Cash. Definitely give Cash, not Cash, Evan, 5 minute timeout for Cash. Evan is in cahoots. That's right. I did no such thing. I'm only enabling. I might have to time out Evan myself. Oh yeah. So Lyle sent me some images of. He went to this place that had a bunch of Transformers, and when I was younger, I had a bunch of Transformers. I still got I still got some of them in a box in a closet, but I lost a lot of them. And so he sent me these I think 3 or 4 photographs, something like that. And I was like, oh, I recognize some of these. Oh, I recognize that one. I had that one. Oh, I recognize that one. I think I had that one. And the one that I did have that I had that Lyle went and looked at was the Jazz. Okay, if you guys ever see the first Transformers movie from 2007, Jazz, he turned into the Pontiac Eclipse. That's the one I'm talking about. You can't super chat. 500-year timeout. Ren come be evil with Seraphy? Seraphy, don't do it. Don't you mention it. Don't you do it. Yeah, no. No. No, Mr. President. I should rewatch the first movie of Transformers. I heard Transformers is like you piqued my interest. Yeah, I watched a lot of that stuff when I was a kid. No, I don't think it is, Evan. I don't think it is. I had to put you both in a timeout. Okay. All right. This is just starting to become a conspiracy. Okay, to draw me in various unacceptable ways. Are you ladies man 127? Where are the glasses? Oh no, my favorite scene. My favorite scene. I remember this like tomorrow. Okay, like yesterday. Not like tomorrow. That doesn't make any fucking sense. I remember this like yesterday. You know what? Fuck it. I might watch it tonight. It's the scene with the I can't remember his name, but they're being interviewed or they're about to be interviewed, and they put down the plate of donuts. Okay, it's a plate of donuts, and he goes, they put the plate down to test your guilt. I ate the whole plate, and then the guy comes in with a file, and he drops it down on the table, and he goes, "She did it." That's one of my favorite scenes. I'm going to send you a Transformers thing you may enjoy. I do remember tomorrow. I apparently can see into the future. Fruity and Slip. And you watched me. There's gonna be more. Look right now. There's gonna be more, and you watched me draw it. What do you. What? Fix your super chats. What's wrong with them? Okay, you know what? Fuck it. You know what? We're gonna just do. I'm gonna start a goal, okay? I'm gonna start a goal. Fuck it. Q&A, whatever. I'll just say, yeah, Q&A. And maybe that'll fix it. I don't know how to fix it otherwise. Because other people did super chats before, I think. So we're just gonna start a goal, okay? And I don't know if we're gonna get to the goal, but I'm gonna see if that fixes it. Draw Akumu making moon waffles. For $500 USD, I'll draw Akumu's feet. What? Q&A. How about that? You guys want a Q&A? Better be better than a sticker like Beckett does. Wow. Wow. Throwing shade at Ginger. He may be soulless, but that was disrespectful. If you give out gold star, yes, sure, gold stars. I don't know how I'm supposed to give out these gold stars, but Q&A. All right, you guys want a Q&A? Threatening to helicopter another bathroom. Teasing your super chats. Pinker Neon Nova, thank you for the $5. Matt, okay, hold on. I think Lyle retracted his own message. I was going to say, how dare you deprive me? I want brownie points instead. For 10 bucks, he oils up. He's from UK. It's a hard sell. Testing you. Oh, okay. Well, if you have a migraine, why are you listening to me? I have to be making that worse. Portobello wants a gold star. Threaten your chat for every super chat. Listen, you better get me super chats. Okay. You're teasing what now? All right, man. Later. Give shekels. Yes, give me the shekels. Give me the shekels. The more shekels I have, the more streams I'll do, and I'm gonna get a better computer. I'm saving up to get a better computer so I can stream more and do more editing wise. Because I have tried to learn how to use other editors. Okay, I have met cash with the $5 in oil up, bro. You know, I would give you the 5-minute timeout, but you gave $5 with it. Just barely. Just barely got by. Just barely. But I was gonna. What was I saying? Oh, I've tried to use other editing software to, like, spice up my videos, make them better for you guys. And I tried DaVinci Resolve. That was a no-go. No-go. I tried Sony Vegas. That was also a no-go. So it seems, and mind you, like, once I get to the 40-50 minute mark, my editor starts to get really fucking slow. Really slow. So think about, like, when I was editing the Maxim, which is a 9-hour video. I had to edit it in pieces, then export those pieces, and then attach the pieces, add the music, export it. Because otherwise, it wasn't gonna do anything. I could read. There are some books I'd like to read that I have. I have the Game of Thrones books. I've got Ender's Game, which is books from, like, childhood. Is your video series based on the actions in the Old Testament? What? Frankenstein his masterpiece. I don't mentally regressed. I don't. By the way, it took almost a full 24 hours to get the FCK Maxim to export, and then I exported it wrong the first time, so then I had to do it again. How many gigabytes is the Final Cut? I'll tell you. Hold on. We're gonna find out right now. Because I'm keeping it saved just in case someone decides to report it. All right. 25. Okay, so just shy of 26 gigabytes. That's its size. Have you? Okay, so I have not read Red Rising, but I do like dystopian. But I have it on my list to read. I've had it on my list to read for about a year. I'm working my way towards it. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Um, uh, I don't know how to pronounce that name. My brain is CS-lick? I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you for the $10. And they said for a better computer and better books. Really? Better books. Throwing shade at my book. I have other books. I have the Winston Churchill World War II book. It's a really big book. I've got hold on. I think I have a copy of Huckleberry Finn. I've got a couple of mythology books. I'm trying to think of everything. I'd have to look in my room. I thought about doing like reading books and reviewing them, like the Game of Thrones books, but we'll see. Yo, chat. Akumu was spotted at the Diddy party. Oh God, yay. I seen this clip the other day of, I think it was Orlando Bloom, but he was like talking about how you can take the girlfriend to the Diddy party because Diddy's not after the girlfriend, he wants you. Cease lick. Cease lick. Okay. Just in case someone tries to flag your channel, chat. I try to archive the videos I really enjoy making and the more important ones. Um, so I have most of them archived. I thought Akumu donated to St. Jude's though. I don't think I have done a St. Jude stream. I could. I could do that. I don't think I have though. Read Childhood's End. How's your garden doing? Not so great. The weather has the weather has been very annoying lately. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. The weather has been very annoying. I am 21. I was 16 when it started. Let's just say I from the from the winter. No, it wasn't the winter weather, okay, that did it. It was the recent storms that I think did it. Pizza in chat with Stinky. Twisted Toy Box with 5 says, I understand your pain of using it on a laptop. Hopefully you can get a PC like I did recently. Yes, yes, that is the goal. 1 second. I'm being called. Called to be asked that of all questions. Very, very important call. Very important call. Very important. A question of the century. PC, the master race of technology. I do write some stories, but I don't think I'll ever end up sharing them. Hopefully we get a French test tomorrow and some sped kids are legit going to use ChatGPT. We are cooked. What were you asked on the call? I was asked the most revolutionary question ever. Was my refrigerator running? Hooters Akumu Seraphy. So we're giving suggestions, huh? Okay. Evan, 5-minute timeout. Give him a 5-minute timeout. Well, okay, you know what? Yeah, 5-minute timeout. Yes, 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 it is. Or was. Yeah, yeah, you enjoy that 5-minute timeout. Fucking Hooter suggestion. That was that was a very fair question. Femboy. Evan. Evan. All right. Cash, 5-minute timeout. 5 minute. Hold on, I'll do it myself. Well, hold on. Actually, I don't. Hold on. Put user. Can I select the time? Yeah, 5 minutes. No, no, I'm not doing this again. To the shed. What was it? What was I gonna say? Shadow zone? Yeah, shadow zone. Whenever I sleep, I. Okay. People are getting sniped around me in chat. Lothar, you're gonna be next. You'll be next. Oh, a text message. Okay, hold on. Supposedly, this is a real question. Have you tried financing a new PC through a firm? I don't know what that is. All right, Evan. All right, Evan. Get a timeout. Can I give you a timeout? Oh, I can't. I can put you in timeout even if you are a mod. My mouse is lingering over it. Okay. All right. And Joe, timeout. Where you at? Where you at? Hold on. Let me make sure I'm hovered over you. Yeah. There we go. I'm giving you a lot of leniency. Evan, you're next. You're next. $4.99, my goat. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that was from you, Mad Brother. Akumu, I kept hearing the phone ringing. I'm curious about, uh, let's just say interesting questions to say the least. You know, I'm gonna put it on Do Not Disturb now. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. Oh my god. Gilded with the $2 said, "What color is your pee?" Okay, all right. Solely because you donated, I'm not gonna put you in timeout. Evan, Evan, thin ice, thin ice. One more. It's black. Darth Sidious's voice. Do it. They're asking if his fridge is running. He keeps dodging the question. Safe to say it's not looking good for his fridge. SMH. Exactly, Asuka. He needs to go. Oh, you're punishing Asuka for that. I don't think, is my audio that low? I'm gonna ask the rest of the chat rather than you, Gilded. Gonna ask the rest of the chat. Is it bad? This is an abuse of power. His fringe? Yeah, my fringe died in a terrible accident. My mic is like right here. I don't know what could be the problem. Okay. Okay, is it better? Is that too much? Legit. Just because you say legit doesn't mean it's legit. All right, 5-minute timeout for you, mentally regressed. 5-minute timeout for you. 5-minute fucking weeb ships. Weeb ships, yeah. I tweaked it a little bit. I don't wanna make it a little messed up. I think you're having some hearing problems, Pooh. I think age is starting to get to you. I think it's hitting you. Kumu versus malnutrition. Turn up volume. That's what I just did. That's literally what I just did. Yeah, that is the answer. Hydrogen bomb versus coughing Akumu. Pick your poison. Yeah, Chet, who's winning that? Twisted Toy Box, message deleted by Gilded. Okay. It's only a little bit better. Let me see what I can do about this. Okay. Did that do it? I'm hoping that did it. Mic, volume, and OBS. I just fucking. I I have it turned up. I don't know. Okay, Gilded. Fine, fine, fine. Let's see what you're messaging me with. Okay, I'm looking at the audio mixer, right? And I have mine, okay? My mic all the way up. Do you want a screenshot? Would you like a screenshot? Grandpa Pooh doesn't hear so well after the war. Yeah, you got a point, Alex. I should wrap things up. But the stream did, solid. I'm gonna stream a little bit more often. I'm gonna try and get that Mugen video out sometime soon. Oh yeah, yeah. Skitty versus Alex. That was a quick, very brief beef. But I'm gonna hop off here. Okay. Thank you guys for um, hanging out with me here and listening to me yap and chatting with me. I hope this was fun. Chat has been hilarious. Yeah, you guys have been fucking. Honestly, you pretty much have been carrying the stream. I'll say that. Because normally I plan these things out, but this time, like, I sort of try and plan these things out, like the topics. But, we sort of drifted throughout multiple topics, and I just wanted to catch up with you guys, talk about what I'm working on currently. Thank you, Lothar. I do too. I'm gonna have to be paying very special attention and whatnot, see if I can get things to bounce back. For us newbies to the Discord, we send you our ID. Yeah, just blur out your details, okay? But just leave the age part of the ID, all right? And just like have it in your hand at least. If your Discord isn't already ID verified. You don't have to send it in the server, but I want to make sure everyone is 18. Okay, that's one thing I'm wanting to avoid is minors. Okay, we're not having another fucking situation where someone is sneaking in. Okay, not happening. My recent BLM membership. But yeah, I'm gonna hop off here. It's fun talking with you guys. I'm gonna stream more. Hopefully get a couple of videos out this month. And thanks for talking with me. It was fun.